we should see some buffers.
There we go. Ads playing
Should
on
see-
Twitch.
yeah. And our live stream should be up. We're up.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, of course. Eric's phone says, we're going. We're live.
Give us a call live here at WMGV. All right, let's see.
Caller coming in.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Phil Donahue. What was it? I was like, hi, caller. That's it. He
Yeah.
died recently, didn't he? Right?
I
Recently?
believe you did. A year ago?
He just died. No,
Just
a month or two
Like
ago.
a month ago. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Lots of weird
Still on
deaths
COVID-10.
recently. Tori Amos? No, not Tori Amos.
That would be surprising. That'd be
What's
surprising.
his name? Something Amos.
Oh, John Amos. Yeah.
John Amos.
Slightly different than Tori Amos. Tori Amos was fantastic on Good Times, though. That was incredible. As the villain in Die Hard, she really rocked. Yeah, I loved John Amos. John Amos was an integral part of my growing up because I watched shitloads of Good Times, and he was he was such a profound sort of father figure character, and yeah, he really locked it in. Integrity, being a good person. I was just like, oh my god, dialed my little brain. Very important. I love that guy. But also, he was great as the villain in Die Hard 2. It was amazing.
Well,
No
cool.
offense to Tori Amos, who's done.
She was great as the dad in Coming to America.
No, yeah, she's McDougal. Yeah. Yeah, boy, that's right.
I had someone tell me that the greatest comedy of all time was Coming to America, and I said, I don't think you've seen enough movies.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty funny,
a pretty good movie.
It's
but-
pretty
It is
funny.
a pretty
It's
good
got
movie.
Some good stuff in it. Yeah,
I gotta say, it's a good movie. I just like
that doesn't crack my top 50. Certainly.
Yeah.
Like for some people I know, that's a really specific
and then I was
movie.
like, just the greatest. And then I started listing comedies like that were I found superior to that. And she's
that's
like,
not even
"Never
like
seen
in
it.
my
Never
best
seen
of
it.
Eddie
Never
Murphy.
seen it.
Yeah, like that. Like
like-
Eddie Murphy is, like he's got Eddie Murphy has a wide range of quality. But
Beverly Hills Cop is significant.
Beverly Hills Cop is great.
He was
Yes,
unbelievable.
48 Hours,
48
Trading
Hours,
Trading Places. You got a
Trading
few
Places.
before you get into
Yeah.
before you get into that.
Norbit.
Norbit, obviously Norbit. Pluto Nash. Yeah.
Boomerang's pretty good.
Classics.
Boomerang's pretty good.
Boomerang's pretty good. I really loved his Dolomite movie. He was so
Yes.
good in that. Oh my god, ridiculously funny. Like that dude, like he doesn't act much anymore, but he still has that magic button to
He just
turn
did.
it on.
He just did another Beverly
He
Hills
was in a
Cop.
show.
Yeah, he did
Yeah,
that.
but he also just did a show, right? Like,
Did he?
yeah, there was a Netflix show on him.
Yep, I like that.
He
guy.
did another movie
talented.
called White People or something like that.
That's it.
Don't
That
know.
was a movie though. I think.
Oh, that
okay.
was with Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Yes, that's
Yes,
it. That was very
People.
good.
Yeah, I have not seen that yet.
Yeah.
I like Jonah Hill. I just rewatched 22 Jump Street, and that is a ridiculous, extremely funny movie. That also doesn't crack my top 50. Just to let people know, not everything is number one with me. But you know what is number one?
There's about 1,000 things. Number one. The Thing is definitely.
The Thing is definitely in high rotation at number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to
Greatest
explain
movie,
to
Alien or The Thing?
Yeah, like the way that I've explained it on the show before, but to new viewers, I think this is the way it actually works for everybody, but I try to be open about it, is that my number one slot in particular is like one of those sushi rotating sushi bars. And so you may get Heat, you may get Alien, you may get Unforgiven, you may get Blade Runner, you may who knows, but today it's The Thing. And trying to decide between these movies is too much to ask of any person.
Yes. There's 1,000 number ones.
Yes, that's just the way it is. I think that's honest, and I think that most people have something like that going on in their lives. I think it's a quantum decision. When you look in the box, is the cat dead or alive? Is it Heat or Unforgiven? You find out.
Eric feels that way about girlfriends.
There you go. This makes perfect sense. Oh, and Dave 3D Guy throws in WEO coming to America for the start of Sam Jackson's career. I forgot that Sam
That's right.
Jackson is in there.
Sam
That's right.
Jackson.
I remember him as
No,
Oh, that's
Stax
right. He was the
in,
No, no,
Yeah.
no. But he's in it.
Goodfellas. Yeah.
He's also in a movie where he plays this guy complaining that he couldn't get in, and it was, oh my God, right? Pacino, Sea of Love.
Oh, is he in Sea of
Oh.
Love? Oh, man.
Yeah,
I gotta go
remember
back
they
and
run the
rewatch that one.
scam in the beginning to get everybody to show up for free Yankee tickets.
Right.
He's the
yeah.
guy who's like runs in, the last one in the door.
I probably haven't seen Sea of Love since it came out, but it recently had a bit of a resurgence in terms of like online talk that people watched it and were like, "Oh shit, this movie's actually really good." So I've been meaning to get back to it and see if it's any good. I did go to see it in the theater like 3 times.
I remember I took a date on that. It was
Sexy movie. That's got some
a
Ellen
good movie.
Barkin craziness now. That's true. I don't know if it'll hold up, but I'm going to give it a shot.
Number one date.
Yep, there you go. That sounds like it's coming to Tubi. I bet that's a Tubi movie.
That's a Tubi movie.
That's
That's a good Tubi bet.
Yeah, that's a
That'd
Tubi
be a
movie.
thing. I bet you that's on Tubi. That's a game we could play.
Tubi or not Tubi? Yeah, I
Tubi
think-
or not Tubi.
I think that's it. I think we should play that.
That's a good game. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I reached what did recently it's yesterday I watched on Tubi. Let's see, 2 Werner Herzog documentaries which I had never seen, and a great Peter Cushing Sherlock Holmes movie which I hadn't seen since I was a kid, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Yeah, it's a good fun one. That's a really good fun one. And as far as Werner Herzog documentaries go, they have a ton of Werner Herzog movies on there. The 2 that I watched were Herdsman of the Sun, which is very cheerful and interesting, and the other one is The Ballad of the Little Soldier, and that one is about child soldiers in Nicaragua. I would say watch the child soldiers in Nicaragua one first, so you don't end up incredibly depressed at the end of the night, which is what happened to me. But it's very, very good.
I watched Asteroid City, right?
Oh yeah, what'd you think of that?
Finished. Well, you know how there's like AIs that recreate.
You felt this was an AI Wes Anderson experience.
It looks like an
There is,
AI
yeah.
Wes Anderson film.
That's
The
like
dialogue-
a Mid-Journey prompt now. It's unbelievable.
It's like, or when everyone makes fun of Wes Anderson films,
Right.
it's like it takes the Wes Anderson too far,
It certainly cranked up to the highest possible amount of Wes
and
Anderson per frame.
it's pretty.
I actually I like that movie quite a bit. I think it
The
really
dialogue is annoying as fuck.
yeah, it's
I haven't
very
seen it.
It's a very prim, tight, very play-like experience.
I know, but they say it's a play, and they make it a play, and then it's a play, and it's like, oh, okay.
If you are even vaguely going to be, if you have a tendency to be even slightly annoyed by Wes Anderson, don't watch it. I
Right.
think that's the law.
It also feels like it's like yes, so Bill Murray has been Me Too'd, so we have completely replaced a character that would
With
very
Tom
much
Hanks.
be played by Bill Murray with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
AI replicated Murray performance.
Yeah.
I think he's out of Me Too jail.
I don't know.
I think he is. I think that people were just like, we're criticizing Bill Murray for acting like Bill Murray like he always has. So let's be easy on this one. I think that's the general vibe I'm getting. The complaints were serious in that he crosses the line all the time with people like showing up at their weddings when he's not invited. So I think that's just where he's at. But I believe that he is back on. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that he is back in the soup. It takes people a while. I also saw Casey Affleck is back out of cancel jail.
Was he in cancel jail?
Yes, he was in cancel jail. Because because people didn't like how he acted on the set of the documentary that he directed, which he was apparently acting inappropriately on. But now he's back and in a Matt Damon movie that I enjoyed. So that's good.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, I liked it.
Casey Affleck's a good actor.
He's
Oh,
a fucking fantastic actor.
Yep.
I agree.
Better than his brother.
And
Yeah.
yes, and I love Ben. I love Ben.
Ben's a
Affleck.
great
I think he's
director.
great. He's a great director. He's an excellent director. But yeah, I also saw both Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck brother Matt Damon movie, which is about a bank heist. And I also saw Wolves this weekend with George Clooney and
Yeah,
Brad
I
Pitt.
started that.
And
What'd you think?
I loved it. I love these movies. I think that they're like, it's interesting that they made two sort of plotless, hey, these old guys are kind of funny movies. And I was like, I think our generation is entering the initial Ocean's 11 zone where it's like, I don't know, we got Frank and we got Sammy. We're at the Copa. Let's make a movie. You know, there's no script. Let's just make one.
So no script is what you're saying.
Well, it's not script heavy. Let's say that.
No,
Like,
it's
I'm
not.
just so tired of lack of story.
I was utterly unbothered by it because these guys are. It's a good looking movie, and these guys are so fucking funny and charming
They
together.
are, and I think it was
just
shot in New York, so they probably were like, "Well, my place is down the street.
Yeah.
I'll show
It's
up
an
to
easy
set."
movie. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a hard working movie, but it's a very very pleasant experience.
Just because you recognize them, and it's good to see them
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the mailman coming down the driveway because the package is
Oh.
too big.
Here comes Frank. Yeah, I agree. I would say set your expectations low. Wolf's is pretty good. And if you're from Boston in particular, The Instigators is very fucking funny.
Yes, down to
Like,
the accents, dude. Like
that
all
is
the guys. And what's his name?
truly hilarious.
Molina, right?
Yeah, Melina. Yeah, it's like all the side characters are hysterically funny. It has a great car chase right in the middle of it, like in downtown Boston or in Cambridge, which is
Hard to do.
impossible to shoot in. So I was very impressed with that. I was very.
I also have to say that the latest Slow Horses,
Oh yeah, God, what a fucking
New
show
season?
that is, man. Yeah.
well, the latest episode was.
I haven't
really
seen the one
great.
from Wednesday yet.
You know what I mean? The car one at the
Yeah.
I
end.
haven't seen the one from Wednesday yet.
That
so-
was
You got a treat
awesome.
coming. That was
okay,
great.
so don't tell me about it.
Not gonna say anything.
And I like the Menendez brothers thing.
Oh yeah, you said that's good.
I'm finally getting into Last of Us.
Oh yeah, what do you think?
It's good.
Yeah, good show.
It's good. That's the kind of thing. Like, yes, okay, let's make more of this.
Yeah. Like the thing is, I've started to, and I think I've talked about it before, but like I think The Last of Us is excellent TV.
Yeah.
Like that is what TV should do. Like
Yes.
this is great TV. And I prefer great TV over shitty films that are put on streaming. Like I would rather have them focus on making TV good than movies bad. I think that's my new argument. Because there's a lot of decent TV shows out right now. Like definitely Slow Horses. I'm a giant fan of Vince Vaughn's new show,
I
Bad Monkey.
just left it on by mistake because I finished
what's it called?
Slow Horses.
Bad Monkey, yeah.
Yeah,
Is it
and it's
good?
in Florida.
Yeah, it is a it's a very very light crime show.
Totally liked it.
Yeah, it's like nearly NCIS light.
What
But-
was the movie about the guy who drove he was in Florida. Oh, what am I thinking of? Florida PI kind of movie.
Oh,
Miami Vice.
No,
Magnum PI.
no. Florida.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Magnum. Like
Well, Miami's
that's
in
Hawaii.
Florida.
Yeah, I know. But no, he was saying no to my because Magnum PI is in Hawaii.
Hawaii.
I don't know. But yeah, this is
Someone's
Vince-
gonna know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And
throw
the
it
guy
in the
drove
chat.
like a muscle, convertible muscle car, like a Cobra or something.
Nice.
And it was not. Oh God, who was it? I don't remember.
Now I really want to know. I'm trying to think.
Well, Vince Vaughn has like I was saying actually to Dave 3D guy that I will say that the funniest Vince Vaughn has ever been is still in Swingers, but
Yeah.
the Vince Vaughn I like the best is Bad Monkey. Like,
Oh, interesting.
he is settled into his groove finally. Like, he's not trying for the laughs as hard, and he's so much more likable. Like, I'm like,
He's relaxed.
He's relaxed. He's telling lots of really like a whole run of very funny little jokes as opposed to trying to take control of the room. And he's really, really killing it. That's a terrific example of the kind of show that it is. And so I've been really digging that one. But yeah, there's lots of decent shows on now, which maybe, this may slow down as we come up on all the shit that wasn't made during the strikes. But I think that Apple and whatnot are relaxing back into their original positions pre-streaming wars.
I don't know what's going on there. Honestly, everyone keeps talking about how it's bad, the movie industry is bad, et cetera. But I was joking. I was thinking about the old Henry Ford quote where he says,
as long as it
move this
blasted
thing out of the way. Henry Ford says, if you ask people what to, if you ask people what they wanted, they would ask for a faster horse, right?
Right.
So
right.
I have a feeling like if you ask movie executives what they want, they would say just make another sequel to Ghostbusters.
Oh God, yeah, that's what's wrong.
Right. So I think that no one is going make something new and original.
Well, and the thing is, I think to build off of that,
safe.
the thing is that like we've been living with that attitude for so long that many audiences also don't want new. Like,
they don't understand what new is.
Yeah, like they really just want.
Right.
They
Is
think
it
they
possible
want
to go back?
This is the question, right? I think it's necessary if you're going to go back to making money.
They can't. I mean, I see enthusiasm and stuff from kids about things that are
But
new.
for deeper storytelling,
Yeah, I don't know if they're used to deeper storytelling. That's
they're
something
not. So I'm saying, but to go back to some of those levels that we love, that it's a deeper level of storytelling.
Well,
and
and to be fair to the kids, in quotes, like they get that deeper storytelling elsewhere, like in video games. Like video games are like reading novels now, like very, very seriously, and really rich, very,
and if you look
very
at
well constructed, deep ones.
Again, going back to Last of Us, right? I mean, that's a
These are real
substantial
experiences.
story that's going on in a video. It is not, Space Invaders. A lot of people still think of video games as Doom and Space Invaders. It's not.
Yeah.
It's way more complex.
Yeah, no, things have changed radically in terms of how video games, what they're trying to do. They're trying to break out of being games. Like they're just trying to find new experiences with this technology.
Burn Notice. That's right, Dave 3D. It was Burn Notice I was thinking of.
There you go. Nice. Our friend Luke Albright was in Burn Notice. Pretty cool. He played a crazy drug person.
Thank you, Dave 3D.
Good call, Dave. But yeah, so I do think that younger audiences want rich material, and especially when I watch like their YouTube stuff, like when you watch like long form storytelling on YouTube, like like people relating their D&D games and whatnot, like they really want deep character stuff. Like they'll go on for hours and hours and hours and hours about characters and how who hooks up with who and what this means and then, like how plot structures work and everything. But they just don't talk about movies like that. Movies are right now to them a waste of time, and I get it because they are. That as an art form, it's wobbly.
is it because of length?
No. I think it's really just because like most of the content that they are exposed to is expensive and terrible.
Did you guys see the new? Did either of you guys see? And you guys can answer in chat too. But if you guys have seen the new Deadpool or the new Beetlejuice,
No, neither one.
right? So
They made a bunch of money, both of them. They did.
They
well.
did, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't really know what's going on, but basically all that is them referencing other things.
Remember that thing that existed before, and here are the things from that thing.
Yes, and then if you think about it, that's kind of what TikTok is too. TikTok is constantly referential of other things, And
Yes.
the whole point, and listen, we did that all the time too when we were kids, and
Absolutely.
we're looking at The Simpsons. Ah, that's a reference to 2001. Ah, that's a reference to this. That's a reference to that. And as jokes, right? It's like
Right.
one snappy joke, one snappy joke, one snappy joke constantly. And we
Right.
did that. That was something we did. And then we talked about when we talked to each other, we would talk to each other and quote TV shows to each other
100%.
as
Still do.
references to what we were doing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, like references are not new.
If I
it's
said
just
it's like, yeah, I wore an onion on my belt because that was the fashion at the
not
time.
much
Everyone
time, yeah.
knows exactly
Yeah,
what I'm
right.
talking about, right? That's
Right.
a weird Simpsons quote that I was like, ha ha ha. That's what TVs and shows have become.
Yeah, but I mean, like this is
There's
the
no
like
story there.
yeah, like the difference is like when you like because references are not new. References happen in
Sure.
Brothers Karamazov,
Of
to earlier
course.
works. So like it's whether or not you're using it for the work itself or whether you're just going look at the stuff that I also know that has nothing to do with this. Like if you're trying to like for instance like just as an example in Hateful Eight, right? Which is basically a closed room play about racism, right? It's set in the snow. Quentin Tarantino uses music from today's movie, The Thing,
Yeah.
right? Because he's trying to say, here's a very similar scenario, right? Where this virus, i.e. racism, is spreading between these people and separating them and destroying them.
Yeah.
Just like in the movie that I'm referencing with the music. Like that's good referencing. Like that's when you're like, I want to take this other thing, so it'll give you another angle on what I'm saying. So like using that as a tool and creative leverage to give you a point of view in sort of shorthand that makes you think about this in a particular way. And that's really powerful. When you just go like, oh, here's that thing from that other thing we did. When you're not doing anything new or saying anything, then you're just spinning your wheels, and that's boring. That's not movie making.
Oh, but some people thought it was hilarious.
Well, because those jokes were hilarious in the first movie, and they were reminded of them being hilarious, and there it is. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And to give credit to like these,
I don't
like,
care about Star Wars. Just give me Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon. That's all that matters.
Yeah, or yeah. Like, well, it's like the reason why I've said this a million times. Though the reason why the lightsaber in Star Wars is powerful as an image is because it is handed over to Luke as a symbolic representation of what he dreams his father was. Like, this is what I have to live up to, and here's the object that is iconic of that. And so later in Star Wars, they're like, wow, people are really moved by what a lightsaber is. What if we put 20 of them on there? Won't that be even more powerful? No, because it doesn't mean anything. That's how symbols work. They have to be associated with something that's actually emotional in order for it to work. And that's what we've sort of let go of. But like what I will say about the TikTokification of things, for instance, like I am impressed by some TikTok stuff and the style of comedy in particular for TikTok creators and sort of meme creators is I was saying to my daughter, I was like, this is really interesting because like in order to understand this joke, you need to not only know what it's immediately referencing, you have to know the context of what that thing that is being referenced was about and was itself referencing. So like it's sort of like a layer cake of information that adds up to being this new joke.
The
Right?
thing
And
that
so
it
like,
really
there's a pedigree that leads up to the joke. That is interesting. That's an interesting technique, and sometimes it works very well.
This is what it reminded me of, and this is about 20 years ago when I, probably exactly 20 years ago. But Peter Mitev, who was one of the founders of Chaos, was visiting LA, and he said, "Oh, I'm in LA. I'm going to go hang out with these guys. Do you want to come out to me tonight? I've got invited to go to this thing." I said, "Sure, I'll drive you there. I'll take you there." So it was these guys who actually worked at Digital Dimension, right?
Right.
And they're Americans, right? So I go hang out with them, and I'm going to go talk to them, and I've never met these guys before, right? But Peter's Bulgarian, and I'm talking about stuff, and then suddenly we start talking about something about a TV show Seinfeld or whatever it was, right? And it's just like, and we just go off on these tangents. And Peter's lost. He speaks
what
perfect
are you talking
English.
About? Yeah, exactly.
He speaks perfect
no
English.
context.
No context. And I've never met these other people ever.
Right.
And we're like, da. And so it's like, And I started realizing how much we kind of just take for granted that.
Oh, yeah. This
thing.
is the language. This is what we're stewing in.
And so I think that's exactly where it is with like TikTok. It's like, I feel like I'm Bulgarian.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. I mean, part of this is just we're a bunch of old dudes. But I
understand that it was going to happen at some point. That we're going to become a bunch of old dudes. But
like,
still.
I think that I'm willing to.
I don't like that though. I don't like the old dudes because it's like it seems like you can't. I fight that because it's like it means that I can't create anymore, and I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm just going to do whatever. But when people say old dudes, it's like there's a way of saying that. There's a value gone, or there's something negative.
You're useless. Stop trying.
Yeah, there's something I take offense, not because I'm getting older, but it's just like, but I still create. As long as I'm breathing, I'm doing this.
Right. Like the real way to look at it is like we all live in, like in sort of a series of Venn diagram circles, right? And we cross over with other people and other age groups and all this kind of stuff all over the place. But when you're talking about very young creators, people in their teens and early 20s versus us, the Venn crossover is minimal, right? And that's why there's not a lot of communication. Like they're just not drawing from the same well all the time. So for both sides, we tend to blow them off and say like, "Whoa, what they do doesn't mean anything," because we don't understand the context, and they blow us off because they don't have any context of the history of what we're saying. So like they think what we're doing is meaningless. So I get it. It's just two different spheres of influence. It shouldn't say that either one is invalid. I think that's really stupid. That's why when I say I'm against generationalism, it's because it's fucking dumb.
All right. We're 26 minutes. We're 26 minutes in, and we should talk about the movie.
Oh, the movie. I brought it up. I almost got a segue going.
Almost did, and then we got tangentified. So I'm sorry about that. This is The Thing. I told my kids, I was like, I got to watch The Thing today. And my son jokingly said, can you be more specific?
The Thing. The Thing. The Thing.
The Thing. Yes. And we've actually almost been surprised that we haven't covered this yet. We are, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years old. How old?
Yeah, we've talked about it tangentially.
Right.
Obviously a zillion times.
Right.
We brought it up on other, say, Halloween episodes. Happy Halloween, everybody, by the way. But we've never gone full.
We've never gone full
at it. Yeah, that's true.
So this has to be done.
Yep, it's a classic.
To clean the pipes, as Eric says, and get this out of there.
That's right.
But it is a very, very important horror film. It is a top horror film. Not everyone would think of this as their top horror film.
I think that number is growing, but yes, certainly for a long time, it's sort of like. It was just a gross movie that people liked, and now like it commonly comes up in people's top lists.
Yeah.
So it's had a growing appreciation to it, I think.
Sure. It's like everything is normal, and then suddenly someone puts up wearing a MAGA hat. Like, how the hell did that happen?
What?
It is a beautiful film.
I would go so far as to say it's a perfect film.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was Burt Lancaster's son that wrote it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay. Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, look it up.
No, it's a great, super slim, tight screenplay. Like, this is the thing is everything about this movie is perfectly done. And I don't know if I can respect the movie more than that.
And there are other people who I researched a little bit, like kind of went down a rabbit hole because I went down the rabbit hole for Burt Lancaster's son because this came out around the AIDS epidemic, that they're like in some ways saying, some of that blood test, that was like some of the
motivation behind
it.
So Burt Lancaster's son wrote the screenplay, not the original short story.
No, the
Yeah,
original
because
short
it's-
story goes back to the 30s.
Yeah,
Right.
who
That's-
I
goes
didn't
there
say
is
that.
by-
I said
yeah.
the screenplay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Burt
Who
Lancaster's
goes
son.
there is the short story, an
Yep,
excellent
from the
short story.
30s. And
Yeah, by
then there was
Campbell,
a
I
guy
think.
that wrote it in the 50s for the first one, which I still love.
Yeah, great.
And
film.
then this one, which is Lancaster's son.
Yeah, Bill Lancaster is the screenwriter, I think, right? I did not
Yes.
know that was he had such a parentage. That's pretty neat. I also want to throw out. I didn't realize. I was just looking at it today. Todd Ramsey is the editor. Todd Ramsey also edited Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which is a major favorite of mine, and Exorcist 3, which we have talked about on this show before, and is a major favorite of mine. I'm like,
I like
think I've
Exorcist.
been-
Eric did not like Exorcist.
Eric did not like that. I love.
Which one? I did like it.
Exorcist 3.
That was kind of dopey.
Well, everyone knows I utterly love that movie. I
Got
talk
Larry
about
King in it. Come on.
It's got Larry King. Yeah, everything about that movie is
It's got
amazing.
George C. Scott. You can't go wrong with George.
Dude, it has friggin' Fabio. Like, you can't top Fabio. Yeah, it's got everybody. But yeah, like
Got a
that's
little old lady crawling on the ceiling.
yeah, it's
Awesome.
like
That
thi-
was cool.
Yeah, there's nothing, and not to go off on this too far, but because I posted the other day, I was like, it's October, which, as everyone knows, I refer to as Exorcist 3 season, because I will watch this probably 5 times this month. That is also one of my favorite horror films of all time, and one of the most uniquely weird films I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, and it's different from Exorcist 1.
Very.
Very.
Starkly. As
It
Exorcist
is
1 is not
definitely
a
very
comedy.
different from Exorcist 2, which is terrible.
Yeah, and although I will say, watch Exorcist 2, because like there's a level of like the people involved with that movie are all so good at what they do. It's directed by the guy who directed Excalibur and
Borman.
Borman,
Zardoz.
Deliverance and Zardoz, and so it's not like he's a bad filmmaker. And it's got friggin' Richard Burton. It's got everybody, and it's like a wild, crazy swing to make something new, and it's bad, but it's fascinating bad. So I say totally check it out. That movie is crazy. It's beautiful too. It's nicely shot, but it's like a weirdo science fiction movie. It's like it almost feels like Demon Seed rather than anything else. Yeah, it's really wacko. But it's
Dark
still
Star is another thing we should cover at some point. Speaking of
well,
crazy.
that's getting back on track with the Carpenter scene.
Yes. All right. So The Thing
Mm.
is a very simple story,
Mm-hmm.
well told. There's several things that are really great about the execution, but the general idea is that that's if you haven't seen the film, I'm sorry, I don't know, you've been living under a rock somewhere, but the film is about, it takes place in the Antarctica, a science base in Antarctica. The original short film, does that also take place in Antarctica, or was that?
I don't know if it's Antarctica. I think it might be the North Pole. I'm not sure. Somewhere in
I always
that.
thought it was the North Pole.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read it, but
This
it does
was
actually does have a
actually-
lot of the same flavor as
This
the
was filmed
Carpenter
in
version.
British Columbia and Alaska, I believe,
Right.
or places like that. So,
Right.
but this because of the tax subsidies that they were getting them.
Yep.
Just kidding. No.
The polar bear tax subsidies.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's right.
Where was I? Yes. So science station, a dog appears that runs to their base and is being shot up by a helicopter by Norwegians. The Norwegians are yelling at the Americans, and they look completely crazed, end up blowing themselves up out of desperation to
Trying to kill
the
the dog.
the
Yeah,
dog.
right.
The
They're
guys
from
that-
they're from another nearby science base.
Right. And they're like, what the hell's going on? Right?
Right.
Then you are introduced to the cast of characters that live inside the space. And the cast is like
It's perfect, man.
every
Everybody.
single character is a character.
Yeah,
Like
defined. I can mean like
and their,
like
and their names.
yeah, dude. It's like Windows, nulls. Like I mean, I know every single character name by heart.
Windows, nulls.
Yeah, McCready. Yeah, I mean, it's just like
They all got their nicknames, right?
yeah. It's really, really great. Like, and everyone is a great character actor.
Childs
Like,
is a Childs.
Childs, yeah, and like all like across the board, they're all like iconic performances of real Howard Hawksy kinds of characters, which
Right.
is appropriate because Howard Hawks produced the original movie. But like Lancaster's script really, it doesn't, there's no fat on it. Like if a character's there, you know what he is, you know what he does, you know what kind of a personality he is.
They've got very unique personalities, every
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah.
And everyone is like a character.
Yeah. It's
No
really good.
one's like meh.
Yeah. There's no filler. There's no filler.
Yeah.
We need a bunch of guys to kill. It's like every single person is interesting to follow.
Well, there's one guy who's kind of meh, and that's on purpose, which is the guy who gets high. all the
Oh
time.
yeah, which was very funny.
Yeah.
It's just like, but he's like, oh, I'll take you up in the helicopter, Doc. No.
No.
Well, thanks for thinking about it, though.
But he's into the chariots of the gods.
Chariots of the gods, man. Yeah, it's hysterical.
So
One thing I didn't realize, but when that opening scene and they scream Norwegian, if you translate it, it says the whole movie.
Does it really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Oh, I fucking love it.
What does
I
it
love
say?
It's like, don't go near that dog. It's pretending, it's some creature pretending to be the dog, and it will kill you. You're fools, don't go there. Or so, I'll pull it up. It's ridiculous.
Google really would have been handy.
But what's
in this
really
situation.
strange is that when he goes with, what's his name? They go up to the place and the guy's kills
helicopter.
himself but is frozen.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm going to grab all this for research. And he's like, but it's in Norwegian or Swedish, he says. He's like, it could be helpful. But it's like, they didn't even listen in the beginning.
Yeah, I didn't hear it in the fucking first place. Yeah. Like he's just collecting it for like, it's just like, there's data, there's numbers, there's something. I'll figure it out. But like, there's like, so like
maybe this is something that'll cure my diabetes.
my diabetes. And it's got Wilford Brimley as like in one of my
Oatmeal.
favorite Wilford
Eat
Brimley
oatmeal.
roles. Yeah, he's so fucking good. But yeah, so the nearby camp has been flat out destroyed.
I
Whatever
really
happened
looked
to
at
it. Uh-huh.
that set for the flat out destroyed camp, and I'm pretty sure it was their camp. After
It's their
they
camp blown
destroyed
up. Yeah. I can confirm. I saw it in the Thing documentary. They built the set in Vancouver, right?
Right.
It's noted they filmed all the exteriors they had to do, right?
Right.
They blew it up, and then they filmed that stuff and said, "Oh, it's the Norwegian camp."
Yeah.
Just after it's been burnt down, which is very clever, but which is good producing. But
Yeah, it's like pretty much their exact camp blown up.
But there's a really great moment in the Norwegian camp when they fly back and check it out, right? There's dead bodies everywhere, and there's a guy who has
Cut his own throat?
you're like, what's going on
Okay,
here? It's like
so-
he killed himself this way, but you're just like, it's so mysterious. Like the entire area is just like, there's no explanations for what you are seeing at all. And if you did this in a movie today, like they'd tell you specifically, like, oh, this and like they outline everything. But this is just like, I don't know,
Looks like
man.
he cut his own throat.
It's fucking
So
crazy. Yeah.
The Norwegian, played by Norbert Weissler, says, get the hell away. That's not a dog. It's some sort of thing. It's imitating a dog. It isn't real. Get away, you idiots.
That's amazing. I love
And then
that.
he's shot.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's pretty great. And and also we have to credit the dog acting in this, maybe the best dog acting of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really good.
It's
So-
very human-like. It's really strange
so
because it
good.
stops areas and kind of walks, meanders. It's really, even my daughter who watched it again with me
How did you
was
do
like,
this?
this dog is so good.
Yeah, it's so creepy. Just staring,
There was
looking out the window,
one-
like, mm-hmm.
There was one shot where the dog is sort of wandering the hallway and looking around, just like Eric was saying. It was just before that, and the camera moves into the hallway from the door like this, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can see on the side, like the shadow of the camera crew,
Oh,
yeah, nice,
right.
nice.
which is normally a mistake. But I'm like,
Right.
is it a mistake, or is it supposed to feel like something's coming through?
Right. So like, this is when a movie is this
Because the cameras
good-
moving forward usually are implying that it's a POV shot.
Well, there are a number of shots in this movie which are just the camera moving through empty spaces, and there's no context for it. Like it's not supposed to be. It's not a person. It's not. It's just you're just moving through it, right? And it makes it so haunting because by the time you're that deep into the story, you're not expecting a setup shot, and they'll cut to it not even to set things up. They'll just be like, here's some quarters. Anyway, let's see what's going on with Copper. And you're like, wait, like there's one shot where it like goes down the hallway and then looks down the stairs and nothing happens. Like everything is unnerving.
But are they
time.
trying to make you as a POV of the creature?
Maybe. Yeah, that may be true. Yeah, but it's definitely, it gets in your head. Like the movie really gets in your head, and like because there's so little information to work with, and it really makes you feel like you're one of these people because you want to understand it, but there's no understanding what you're seeing. Like they work out stuff like blood tests and stuff like that, but they never get an edge on the thing ever. Like they don't know what's happening. They don't know where it's from. They don't know how it gets you. They don't know who's possessed at what time. Nothing. Like it's a total mystery the entire time. And I think that that's what makes this movie endure so long, because people even now talk about like who is infected at what point in the film. Yeah. Or like if you're infected, do you know it? Are you aware that you're the alien and you're lying? Or is it just your arm's infected and it overwhelms you all at once? But the movie won't tell you. And I think that that's a key to why it's so fucking spooky. Like today's movies tell you everything. And it makes them much less scary.
Well, we tell everyone everything too. That's what we do. So we're making it easy.
Well, no, that's us talking about it. Yeah, but that's us talking about it. The movie itself is like, I don't know. You got me. I'm just filming things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So essentially this dog is infected, but the idea is that once it touches you, it'll mimic your DNA in some ways, right? Mm-hmm. And then it becomes a game of all of us, which one of you is the real you or not the real you. And it's a matter of testing. And more importantly, for Brimley's characters, like, if this gets out, the entire world is fucked.
Yeah, screw this, right.
So he is like, we're all gonna just burn this whole place down, kill all of us. We're all done.
Yeah, he comes to the nihilistic approach pretty quickly in this movie. Yeah, like once he's like,
after he plays asteroids for a little bit.
Yeah, once he asks ChatGPT to calculate it.
ChatGPT. He asks ChatGPT. He goes, "You have a 75% chance of survival." Then.
Yeah, and that's he's like, "I think I should probably kill everybody." That's when you know you're making a good horror movie when you're like, "Yeah, actually, that's probably a good idea." But this is the thing is like even with the opening scenes before you even know what's going on. It sets up this sense of distrust between people just because they're locked in and annoyed with each other and bored.
Yeah.
They're bored.
Yeah.
They're really bored.
Yeah. And
hey, man, we're like 1,000 miles from anyone, man.
Right. It's going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets any better. Yeah. Like this, like there's these little interactions. Like I love when Knowles is blasting Stevie Wonder, right?
Yeah.
And the Superstition, which is terrific, right? And the other guy's like, "Will you cut that shit out?" Right? And like Knowles is like, "You bet," right? And he roller skates over to the stereo and then sort of waves like he's going to rotate the volume dial down. Doesn't. It's like, fuck you. And it's all these weird, petty little grievances. And you get such a great sense of established character, like the guy who Richard Mazer, who's the dog keeper,
right?
Like he's apart from them all the time. He really cares about the dogs. He doesn't communicate very well with others, and he's very emotional when the dogs are hurt. And he doesn't really talk to anybody else,
right?
And all of that,
and you immediately suspect, him.
He already is separate, and
he's
everyone
already
has
part of the dogs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And he was going to defend that dog no matter what.
Oh yeah, dude. And so you have that. You have like the captain is, the captain saves everybody by shooting the crazy Norwegian, or at least he thinks he saves everybody. And immediately people are critical of him. Like, oh, I was wondering when the El Capitan would get to use his pop gun. You're like, I mean, the fucking Norwegian had a AK and he was shooting people. So why don't you give the captain credit? Nope. I hate that douchebag. That weird old white dude.
Yeah.
But that's good setup for once they start realizing what the monster's about. Like those fractures are already set up very deftly in that screenplay.
There was something you've brought up many times in the past when you were talking about the thing without actually, excuse me, talking about the thing, is the fact that, a lot of people say, don't hide the monster, hide the monster, hide the monster.
Yep.
That's the key to a good horror film. They don't hide the monster at all.
At all. They're very explicit about showing the monster.
Right.
And so like this, like this is my feeling on, because I do think that there's some truth to that advice. Like, show the monster minimum. This is the Jaws idea, right? Like, don't show the shark too much because the puppet doesn't work.
Right.
And like people take that to mean showing the monster is bad, when that's not what that means. Like, what that means is that
For the suspense?
yeah, because like when Spielberg couldn't, like, he was planning to show the shark all over the place in Jaws. Like it was the plan to be like, well, yeah, let's make this happen. And it turns out they can't because it was a fucking technical mess. And what that caused is like he had to make a good movie anyway. Like he had to think, how do I scare people if I can't show the monster? And so he makes Jaws. That's how you scare people, right? And so he made the fact that he couldn't show the monster an asset, which is very, very smart.
Well,
but like,
that's the thing, right? I think creativity always comes out of restrictions.
restriction, right?
And look at just on the short film that we shot. We had so many situations where, well, that fell apart.
Yeah.
What do we
You
do
just got to
now?
think your
and
way
then,
out of
and
it.
then suddenly, like, the solution we come up with sometimes is way better than what we were originally planning, because we actually have to sit down and think of something creative,
Right.
as opposed to just doing what we thought was the right thing to do.
Right. Like, I mean, if you make it, if you make it super easy on yourself, and this is why it's hard to make a good movie with $1 zillion. Like, for instance, Joker 2 bombed this weekend. Like, bombed hard.
I just read that.
Yeah, everybody hates it. Cinema Score.
Yeah, I was
real
shocked.
mess. It's a real
30
mess.
something on the Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's like
which
an
is
absolute
weird
disaster.
because
Yeah,
that
strange.
should, like, those are good actors.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, it may be a great movie. Like Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford has a D on Cinema Score, so there it is. But like it certainly didn't play to their strengths, right? And one of the things is like when you're walking into a movie like that, and you got like, we have Joker money, so we're gonna do whatever. Like, money isn't going to solve your problem. Like, you have, like, solving the problem is hard no matter what you do, and sometimes money gets in the way of that.
Yeah.
And like, if Spielberg had all the money in the world to make Jaws scary and make the puppet work, we might not have Jaws. We may just have sort of a shitty monster movie.
It's interesting because, I mean, I remember talking to Tim Miller about Deadpool 2, and one of the reasons he stepped away is like, one of his disagreements is that the director, didn't want that budget. He wanted a lower budget.
Good for him, man. That's a
because
strong
he was
thing
scared.
to
It's
say.
like, if you make it a higher budget situation, then it just becomes a controlled franchise stuff.
Yeah.
As opposed to what it's.
Too many people have their fucking hands in the spaghetti,
Yeah.
and that's the problem. And so like when it comes to a movie like The Thing, where they explicitly show the monster, like, you have to think about, oh, so how does this work? What they're thinking, like, okay, what we're showing you by showing the monster is the results of the monster. Like, this is what happens once the monster has already beaten you, right? Because this isn't actually the monster. This is a threat. It might kill you, but like, it's not the real monster in the movie. The real monster in the movie is distrust, right? That's what's fucking them over and over again.
Right.
And
it's not like it's that one thing after us. No, it could be any one of us.
it could be any one of us, and we're all like, we don't
the
trust each
original
other.
version of Among Us, the film.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's like, they're like, we don't trust each other, and it's causing us to break down and become even more vulnerable. Like, that's the actual monster of the movie. And so you can show the monster as much as you want, because that is the threat. That's not the monster, it's the threat of the monster. And so by being really gory and really crazy, it overwhelms you with the stakes of what is happening. Like, you don't want this to happen to you. So it is best you don't talk to anybody and eat out of our own cans and, like stay in our rooms and live with COVID.
Yes.
And I think that's
Stay in your little bubble of social
Mhm.
media. Do not
Yes.
venture outside.
all these things, everything you just said is very much connected, because I think that what this movie really makes me think of is the problem that like of all age groups, of all brackets that we face right now, is we like what these industries have done is monetize distrust. Like if like the only way to view people on social media, one is, here's the 3 views you get. The view of yourself is heroic. You're correct, and we're going to tell you you're correct at every drop of the hat, and you're morally correct. Or if it's not you, they're either a victim of something terrible that you must stop, or the villain that's perpetrating that terrible crime. And there's people that agree with you and monsters, and that's it. Those are our choices online, and it has spread so far and it's so deep in us that I was watching the thing this morning. I was like, this is freaking me out more than it ever did, because I am very familiar with this feeling now, post COVID. In the soup of social media, like this is the real bad news. Not trusting people is monstrous, and it's destroying us. And that's what the movie is impossibly nihilistic about this. It's just
Yeah,
It's interesting you say that, because I was reading up on this the past couple days, and somebody was talking about, well, maybe you guys know it, but I didn't, that the guy that the thing never gets is Kurt Russell until the very end, because some people have the theory that
Maybe.
he shares,
Right.
but it's because he was a Vietnam veteran.
Oh,
And he
interesting.
talks about it.
Right.
And so he believed in something and he was screwed.
Right.
And he's the only one that's got deceived because he trusted.
He trusted someone.
Do you
which
know
in
what I
the
mean?
world of things is a
And
giant mistake.
the creature doesn't take him because the creature feels that he is corrupt.
Right. He's already out the door. Yeah,
Right?
That's interesting. Right. Yeah, that's a really interesting take.
Which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then at the end, that guy that he's with is the guy saying that he is a thing.
Yeah.
But he was the last
yeah.
to survive because there was nothing about him that was typically human. He was just angry. And he talks about his service. He throws the booze into the computer. So it's man against computer. Like all these things. He's like, this is because he's a Vietnam vet. And he mentions at some point, he talks about like, I've seen it worse, or, he was the one that was most gung-ho because he's seen all this crap before.
Well, he's certainly he's the one, McCready ends up taking control of the situation in a way that is he's just trying to cut through the bullshit all the time.
Yeah, but when that guy is asked, why don't you take a choice? Like, I can't do that.
I can't
Right?
do that. Yeah,
He's
exactly.
the only one because he's been in the situation
Right.
of war.
Right.
And he was saying it's the only one that,
Well,
he's burnt out and he trusted. He went away, obviously, because he was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam.
That's what's implied. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Right. That's a really interesting point, because if you look at it in the context of post-70s film,
That's right.
right? Like it's that depressing hangover of 70s paranoia. Like it's beyond paranoia. Like the thing isn't like maybe things are bad. Like the thing is like things are fucked. May as well. It's better to be dead. That's the argument of the thing. It's like after Parallax View, after All the President's Men, after all that, we're at the thing. We're living alone, apart from each other, out in the frozen wilderness of distrust, and even that's not far enough away. Like that's how fucked they are, And that's really fascinating, because it's the Reagan era, because Carpenter's been very very talkative about how much he hated Reagan when he talks about what's it called, They Live. But that feeling is seeping through. Like we're all out for ourselves now. Like we live in a wilderness of humanity, and like you get to the end of the movie and it's just like, this is one of the most hopeless films ever made. Like, it's amazing that this got made the way that it did, because it's absolutely free of any sun on the horizon at all.
No, in fact, it just keeps getting darker. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. Darker, 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 darker.
And they don't care. At the end, he knows he's going to die and freeze out there.
Right.
Right?
That's incredible. That's one of my favorite gags, when just maybe we shouldn't. Like, that's his fucking art. That's the movie's argument. Like, how are we going to make it? Maybe we shouldn't. That's what the movie is saying about people. Like, we're right to not trust each other. It's a virus that will only ever get worse. We may as well die. Like, that's wild. That's a wild thing to say.
It is.
It's the smell.
It's the smell.
And it's such a tight little film, it's because they're isolated. You really kind of just...
Well,
Yeah, get into
isolation is such a great
vehicle.
vehicle in so many. There's so many great reasons to do isolation, right? It's cheap.
It's production wise, it's fucking fantastic.
It's great. It's scary as hell,
Yeah, right.
right? Misery is another good one. Like,
Yep.
Those types of isolation things are great.
As long as you can sell that the outside world is real, that you're really missing something in the movie,
Right.
and you are actually isolated, then I think you get that's a great point. Because
Well, they keep bringing it up, right? That, like,
Right.
I can't get on the radio. I can't get anyone. They never got in touch with anyone on the radio.
yeah, like this is what, cause that's what makes it feel very cosmic horror, very H.P. Lovecraft, where it's just like it almost feels like the rest of the world is already dead. Like there isn't any evidence that like Wilfred Brimley is like, oh, it'll kill the entire world population. And I'm like, what world population? Like, this feels more isolated than The Road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really beautiful.
Did you
piece of
see
work
the
in that way.
second, the one from 2011?
I did. I've seen it a few times. I'm not super hard on that movie. It's nowhere near. It's just nowhere near this. It's like it's not even. It's like it's like
Because they use CG. CG was the bad
it is.
reason.
There is awkward CG in that movie, and there's a
Really?
bad story to tell about it. But it is not the reason the movie is.
No.
It's like it's a pretty good B movie. I enjoy it on its own terms. I think it's a pretty good B movie. I think everyone in it is good. I think there's some sequences that are really fun, but it's so overshadowed by the greatness of the Carpenter version that all it can do is just sort of sit there and not be as good. And it's just like you can't get by it. And like if you compare like the Carpenter version to the original version, the Hawks version, like it's like the Hawks version is excellent. Like that is a great 1950s science fiction horror film, right? Really nicely made, great tight dialogue, really, really entertaining, terrific movie of its type. And not only does the thing go completely the other way in terms of style of horror storytelling, it absolutely flattens the original in terms of skill. Like like the original is terrific. It's already a top of the line 50s movie. And Carpenter just just utterly mows it down. Everything about the remake is flawless.
Interesting. I have never read about it, but I wonder what made him do the remake.
Yeah, I know. Like it's an interesting thing to take on.
Did he do the remake? Who did the remake?
Oh, the new
Carpenter.
one? No, Carpenter didn't direct the 2011 film. Is what you're asking.
No, he didn't. But
Yeah.
I'm saying the remake from the 50s.
Yeah, like for him to choose to remake it from the 50s is really
That's
interesting,
right.
'cause he loves 50s film. Obviously.
I've never read why he said in 1981 or whatever. Oh yeah, I'd love to remake the thing. I've always wanted to.
That's an interesting question because he is obviously a huge fan of John Ford. He loves Howard Hawks. He loves Howard Hawks. Loves Howard Hawks. So I assume
How
that's where
popular was
probably
the
it.
1980s version?
it bombed horribly when it came out. It destroyed Carpenter's trajectory 100%. Like he was up to direct like some really big stuff, and all that got canned because of the thing. And that total failure at the box office. It was up against like Star Trek 2 and E.T. and
Oh,
that was it. That was the writing on the wall. Everyone wanted to see, good, fun, emotional, revenge, good guys, stuff. And then here's this. And you're like, just like Blade Runner, the same year bombed.
That's right. Don't forget that.
That's that.
It's so weird to think that.
Yeah. People didn't want to see that shit. They just did not want to see it. And, I get it. It's fucking bleak. But it's weird that it took like 25 years before it really...
Maybe that will happen to Joker 2.
It's possible. I would like to think that Joker 2 is good. Everyone involved is good. It can happen. Maybe, but it sounds like it's the Exorcist 2 of Joker movies.
There's such a thing as Joker movies? I don't know.
Well, yeah. It's not anymore. That's the truth. We want to say...
I'm really curious to see... I want to read the reviews. Like, why?
Yeah, what happened
I just assumed it was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
The Joker.
It got... like, the internet published the cinema score and Rotten Tomatoes reviews early on, and that killed people's choices. People were going to go see it. It was tracking to do well, and then they were like, nope, pump the brakes. I'm not going to waste my money on that. That's that. And
that's crazy.
I have not
Lady
seen anyone...
Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix. That's like, big time.
Yeah.
And it's not big time
really
Joker. It's big time, like, dramatic movie, big time.
Yeah.
Right?
These are like Oscar winner, Oscar nominated.
Right.
She's been the biggest recording artist in the world. It's a musical sequel to a gigantic hit. Like, it's a superhero movie. It's got everything going for it, right? Nope. Like, everyone saw the reviews and was like, I'll wait till Netflix. And that's that. Yeah, it's really intense. It'll be interesting
Instead,
to see.
they went to go see Beetlejuice, which is nothing but self-referential.
Yeah.
Blah, blah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just can't. I'm just like, why?
Because it makes money, dude.
Yeah.
Like, that is the reason, regardless. I mean, it's like, the thing is, like, the reason why that makes money is because Beetlejuice is a pretty good movie. The first one. Great. Like, it is the fact that quality went into it 30 something years ago that they're making money on now. But
more than 30 years ago, because she was a freaking child.
Yeah.
It was almost 40 years ago that was made.
Right.
Because she was a child, and she's our age.
Yeah, exactly. She's a Gen Xer like us, and so like this. I hate to tell it to studios, but
please tell them.
The math doesn't work out because you run out of stuff. It's like strip mining coal. Like, you'll run out of coal, right? Yeah. Sometime. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but that'll be long after I retire.
Yeah, exactly. Golden parachute.
That'll be long after I pull my parachute.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Meantime,
leave things for the future. Are you crazy?
Yeah. In the meantime, because I want to retire, I'm going to play it safe and make Beetlejuice.
Oh, man.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 100% what it is.
No, I haven't seen either of those movies. Maybe I'll like them. I don't know. But it does, no matter what, even if I like it, it does sound like it's rechewed food.
It's definitely rechewed food.
Like, that sounds like a bad plan.
It's just no story. Like, there was, you know what the problem was? There was one story that was like starting to form. It was like, oh, okay, I'm in it. And then like, yeah, let's just drop that. Like, out of nowhere, the story's done.
Yeah,
like,
that's all.
Let's go back to referencing other parts of the movie.
Yeah, well, this is like, you make these kind of choices when you're panicked about the state of the industry,
right?
Like, because like they are in a bind, because they, like, when you put out new stuff, audiences are like, we don't want new stuff, we want old stuff, and so you do that, and you're like. And then you do it with Joker 2, and it bombs. Like, that's when you go, oh no, the magic wand doesn't work anymore. Smack, 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 smack. Like, they must be a little panicked, because like, one thing is, like, they're not going to think, the flip side of this is maybe Joker 2 bombed because it was bad, or not. But that's not how they're going to judge it. They're just going to be like, oh no, they don't want sequels anymore. What do we do? Like, because when the studio people don't think, like,
they don't understand why it failed. It could have been great if they wrote a better plot, which is ridiculous because
it's not like
they
rushed
probably
into it.
had a good plot at some point.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? But I mean, like that's the way they think about it is like, oh, it looks like audiences don't want this now. What do we do? What do we have next?
Stop guessing what audiences want. Just make something
just
good.
make good things. That's how you make money. That's how you make not only money then, that's how you make money 40 years later.
Here's what I think they should treat it as.
Mm-hmm.
I think they should treat it the same way that a venture capitalist looks at startups.
Mm-hmm.
Throw a bunch of money and a lot of little things.
Yeah, roll the dice.
One of them will work.
Right. Someone's going to play. I mean, like you're putting all this money out there.
All of them risk failure. They all risk failure, but if when one of them hits, it's going to hit big.
Most VC investments, like 49 out of 50 investments are failures. It's the 50th one that's 100 times.
Right.
Like that's what makes it all worthwhile, and like that's why you put in the money, like you say, on little things. Like you're like, oh, here's an interesting little script. Let's spend $5 million here.
Yeah.
Like that's worth it. That's Reservoir Dogs.
Right.
That creates an industry called Quentin Tarantino and copycats that you can also make money on. And to an extent, that's Joker 1. Like I'm not a giant Joker 1 fan. I think it's a pretty good movie. But like at least it was daring enough in its context
I
to
think
have made
that
money.
they look well. I don't know if it was too daring. I mean, we're still going to make a superhero film.
Yeah, it's a safe bet.
They looked
on
at
many
what
levels.
happened. They looked at what they did with Logan.
Yep.
I think Logan, and they said, "Oh, okay, well, let's make it serious." Logan is based on serious westerns, so we're going to make ours based on Taxi Driver.
Yeah,
and that
sure.
will be.
It's a pretty
But
safe
this
play.
one's a semi-musical, isn't it?
Yes, it's a courtroom drama romance movie. That's a musical.
Yeah.
Like that's weird, and I applaud them for doing something that nobody expected. But also, you're not in an ecosystem that's going to reward that, and it's going to read it the wrong way no matter what happens. If that movie is great, no one will ever know. That's just the way it goes. I would love to think that it's actually a secret great film. It may be a good movie that's flawed, but it is not what fans have been trained to expect by the studios, and its failure is not something that studios will understand. So they'll make bad choices based upon that and screw other good projects out of it. Guaranteed. That is the way that stuff goes, especially now when everything is wobbly.
Mm-hmm. Let's get back to the thing.
Love it. Actually, here let's look in chat for a second and say hi to Shane Mullen, and thank you for confirming, Jason, that it was the original story was set in the North Pole. We were right. Sometimes Martini Giant knows what it's talking about.
Yeah, I just asked the questions you answered.
There you go. I'm just throwing that there.
But let's get back to the thing. Eric, you said you found some other interesting things about it. What else did you find it was interesting? Little tidbits of information.
Well, some of it I already covered. I mean, but I just seen it. I've seen it a lot, but I saw it again, and I kind of was doing a little hunting and pecking online to kind of see what other people, because sometimes when I watch it, I feel like it's the first time, and that to me is always a great sign of a movie. Mm-hmm. And it is it's tense. The lighting, I think the cinematography really jams it in your face.
Dean Cundey, yeah.
But the concept of the Vietnam vet kind of blew me away. I was like, it's, because if you think about it too, 81, 82, dispatches, a lot of looking back at the Vietnam War was going on. Mm-hmm. And so placing his character in that kind of, with his character background makes it makes sense, at least for that time.
Yep.
It's, I think this guy was saying that he spent a lot of time with Kurt Russell to develop that character.
Yeah.
To get it in. And apparently they rehearsed too, which.
That's great. Well, I know that. And,
did you know that he did the Halloween soundtrack? Carpenter,
yeah, he does soundtracks to a lot of.
He did a lot of his own.
Yeah,
he did the
so
soundtrack
wild.
to They
Escape
Live
from New York.
all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and for this movie, they wouldn't let him do the soundtrack. Like the Hollywood, the studio was like, no, we're gonna get pick somebody bigger and better. And so it's like Ennio Morricone. He's pretty good. And so they get Ennio Morricone, and then he goes to meet Morricone, and loves the guy. Guy's a master, right? But he says his first pass was to Ennio Morricone. It was too like florid.
Whoa,
well, yeah, exactly.
the
right.
thing.
The right. And so he and this I thought was hysterical. Just like the dude in Amadeus, Carpenter's just like Ennio. Too many notes. So Morricone essentially just listens to Carpenter's music from his other movies, and it's like, I'll do a John Carpenter score then.
Right.
And he turns in the best John Carpenter score. It's like, it still feels very John Carpenter-y, but it's got some real mastery behind it. Not that Carpenter's not that bad. He's pretty good. But it's so, like, especially like the, when things start to go crazy, when it's like, dun, 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 dun. That's very Morricone. Yeah, it's really fun.
By the way, Chris, I put some new images in Discord.
Okay.
And I basically, what was interesting is that this guy's theory about like, because he's so, the way Kurt Russell's character is, that, I was saying that the beast or the thing didn't really see him as something, as a human, like a normal human, and wasn't afraid of him, but didn't think it was worth it because he felt there was something disturbed about him, right?
Yeah, right. There's already
how he got
wrong.
disturbed. But when they go to look at the wreck, they're looking down at it, and the guy who was there, I forget the character's name, he's like, it's 100,000 years.
At least.
At least. And he's saying that, the guy's saying that he was already the thing. And he's trying to show off to Kurt Russell's character as a way of how impressive they are as people, because look how old they are, and they built this 100,000 years ago. Right. And look how incredible they are.
And it's because it's plausible that he's infected because they already got attacked by the dog, right?
That's right.
And the dog, who did the dog bite? Just
the dog goes up and licks.
No, he bites. He bites.
He bites
under the table. And when he guys says, "Get this dog back in the cage."
Oh yeah, so he gets So it's there's a couple of exposures with the dog,
right?
Because like he's he comes up and licks I think I want to say. I can't remember the bald guy's face.
Dog trainer guy.
They and like licks him, yeah, like licks that guy, licks that guy's face, and then makes his rounds under the table.
But he bites the guy. No, he licks the guy's face, who is the guy who's shot in the leg.
Yes, yeah, that's the first guy that gets licked.
Yeah,
right. And so and he doesn't reveal himself until a little later on.
But it was almost
it
like
could be anywhere by then.
Kurt Russell's character was not. I thought it was an interesting theory about it, or at least the way he viewed it, because he was type of like, that's 100,000. He was like, so like,
I like that.
Unbelievable.
This must be a fantastical civilization that produced this.
Almost like trying to sell him in a way.
Right.
And he doesn't care. He's like,
that's
really whatever, we got to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I like that.
And it's so a lot of those pieces.
I was thinking that's kind of like the guy from Aliens. What's his name?
Bill Paxton?
No. The bad guy in Aliens.
In Aliens?
The bad guy.
Yeah, the corporate guy.
Yeah.
Paul, what's his face?
Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser.
But he's like, yeah, imagine the money we could break from this thing. This is amazing.
There's a substantial dollar value attached to this, Ripley.
This is substantial dollar.
It was a bad call. It was a bad call. He's so fucking good in that movie.
Someone's going to win a Nobel Prize when they see this.
Yeah. But like that, like I love the idea of like, this is just a great example of like, this movie is sort of infinitely interpretable because it doesn't tell you. And like I've seen loads of discussions online. Me and Dave 3D guy have talked about this a million times, trying to track like is that guy a thing right now and that's why he's fucking with him? Like, do we know? Like,
but you said it earlier. You don't even know if people know that they are.
They have no, they have no idea. Like the dude that whose chest caves in, like he's just like, I'm having a heart attack, and then falls over, and then like he's lying on the table, and I'm just like, if that took over your whole goddamn body, you must have known at some point you were thinging out, right?
Well,
Right.
that's the guy that was talking
Nope.
to him on the thing,
Yeah. Right.
right? When he's looking at the spaceship, that was the guy.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And then, like, okay, so let's like in that there's lots and lots of fabulous gore or by Rob Bottin in this movie. What is your favorite gore in this movie? What's your favorite sequence in this movie in terms
I like
of
the dog.
the dog
dog.
splitting open?
The dog, with all the dogs in the room, and
Yeah. Yeah.
they're whining, and then that creature starts to become.
I still love the spider head one.
Spiderhead one is classic all the way through for me, for sure.
Because it's just so insane. It's just hilarious.
Well, this is what I was going to point out: is it doubles down and doubles down and doubles down. Like it's not just like they're like, okay, the guy's had a heart attack. Like they're already trying to handle something else. Like they're like, this is bad news. Clear. And so it sets up this beat. Like, okay, 1, 2, 3, clear. Right, and gives him the shock. 1, 2, 3, clear, and gives him and then he goes 1, 2, 3. Chest turns into a giant maw. Hands go in, get bitten off. Head starts straight. I mean, like so many crazy things happen within about 10 seconds that your brain just can't process what's going on. And I think that you're right, also, Eric, with the dog attack in the kennel bit is like that dog has been stone cold for the past like 10 minutes. He like walks in, looks around, sits down, kind of weird, and you're like, what's up with that dog? And then the dog turns its head to you and its face peels like a banana. Like it's the first like thing you see. And you're like, what? Like
but it's got that sound of like,
yeah, it's insane.
Like that sound is like, doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. And that sequence, the dog sequence, has so many of my favorite little camera tricks. Like they have all the intestines heaped up on the dog, and then they pull them away, but they show it to you in reverse. So all of the tentacles go and pile up on the dead dog. They have the digestive hose that's spraying the dog back and forth. Like it's just there's like they don't just have one gag; they have 10 gags, and they're going to make them happen all simultaneously. And so the movie's motif is to steamroller you. Like it holds its fire for 20 minutes. And then when it goes off, it sets off all the fireworks at once. And your brain doesn't know what to do with it. I think that's such a genius bit of film, just great filmmaking.
what was the
because
budget
it
on it?
lures
Because
you in.
obviously the special effects were some
It's pretty
groundbreaking
pricey
at the time.
Yeah, and he had some serious backing for this because he had like Halloween success, everything else. Like he's been doing really well, right? Thing, 1982 budget. Let's see.
Rambo came out in '82.
So it was a $15 million film, which is expensive for '82. Right.
That is,
Yeah, that's pretty pricey. 1.5 million was spent on Rob Bottin's creature effects. Like that's just gargantuan. And Rob Bottin is a legend in the industry. He also did like Total Recall. Like,
Did
2
he do the
weeks,
stuff
but wow,
for the
yeah.
Beetlejuice?
Rob Bottin? Let's see, Rob Bottin. He did. Yeah, he was really young when he did this too. That's interesting. Okay, so God, what a list. All right.
Somebody else
Someone's
was
asking if
involved.
we've seen the original on our chat. Yes, we have
I have, yeah.
Yeah, I
seen the
love it.
original.
I watched that maybe
many
2 weeks
times.
ago. Yeah, it's
We
terrific.
watched 2 weeks
Terrific
ago.
film. Rob Bottin started out on Squirm, which is a fun B movie.
What year?
He does that in '76. Then he works on King Kong for Carlo Rambaldi.
Oh, yeah.
He does a little bit of assistant makeup on Star Wars, right? So he's shooting up. Let's see. He does The Fury, which I love. And then he picks up with Carpenter doing The Fog, right? And then he does The Howling, The Thing, Twilight Zone the movie, Explorers, Legend, Witches of Eastwick, Inner Space, RoboCop, Total Recall, and Seven, and Mission Impossible, and Fight Club. Like the guy is an
he still alive?
unbelievable superstar. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, he's one of the all-time greats. He's like Wally Westmore only in a guy, as opposed to the entire
Baker
Westmore
was
family.
a pretty
Rick Baker is another big one.
Yeah.
I would say like those two. There's one other guy.
I think that
they're
guy
the guys.
Baker helped them.
I think that's
Just-
true. Yeah.
Yeah, because he got
Stan
burnt
Winston
out.
did some
Stan
stuff
Winston.
for this.
No,
too,
that's
didn't
it. Stan Winston, because
Yeah.
the guy you were just talking about, he got so burned out that he
Yeah, he
had
went to
come
the
in.
hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Because
needed to take
I
a
saw
break.
Stan Winston in the credits for this.
Yeah. 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 So like I think that I know Bottin was working 24 hours a day on this show, right? And he burned himself out, like Eric's saying. Like he's like when they're doing the tabletop thing with the chest opening up, like he's crammed underneath. Like, and he's boxed in beneath the thing, puppeting the deal. And there's like fumes. There's like, he's trying to push the head off. He's exhausting himself. And he ended up in the hospital. Like he was so completely fried. So yeah, like I think that tapered him out of the movie. I believe that other people had to come in and work stuff out.
So
But still
Jason's
legendary.
saying that Stan Winston did the dog scene.
Oh, it's great. It's a great one. Very
Interesting.
nice. And also,
That's cool because that's kind of stands alone, right? It can sort of be
Yeah.
its own little thing. Well, they're all a little bit standalone. I mean, but also like the design of that character, that like the one that they find in the Swedish Norwegian. I did the same thing that the guy in the movie does.
You did, yes.
The Norwegian.
Hey, Sweden.
Hey, Sweden.
The
Norwegian.
Norwegian Mac.
It reminds me, this is one of my favorite King of the Hill episodes when Can moves next door and they're trying to figure out. It's like, so you Chinese or Japanese? I'm from Laos. So are you Chinese or Japanese?
So nice. So, but yeah, like I love that dog bit, man. When the dog's face peels, when the dog has become like this, looks like a weird turkey, like he's like a cooked turkey, and then his side opens up and a flower claw comes
Apparently
out of
the
it.
secret to all of that was a KY jelly.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's how to get it done. Look at that. Just dump that stuff all over the set. You're
Who
fine.
did we know who was? It was Andy Wilkoff who was doing something, and he bought like one of those big tubs of that gooey stuff that's used in special effects. That's
Right.
what they use on everything. Like
The
you know,
slime.
the slime. you can dye it, and then it's green slime or whatever. You know, it's like,
Right.
and it's like it just drips everywhere. It's
Yeah,
gross.
it's nasty. I bet they used they must have invested in the company when they made Aliens. Like it's just
Yeah,
everywhere
that's
all
exactly
the time.
the kind of stuff that Alien, the creature, was
Yeah.
coated with that.
This gooey, glistening nastiness. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Adds life. It adds life.
Yeah, we had some glistening, nasty stuff on us when we were doing our short. That was gross. And when they were like finally because we were dirty and
The
sweaty
sweaty
and
bits. Yeah.
sweaty, and it was like, and they finally taken the stuff off. I was like, oh,
This stuff is
it's
nasty.
like it's
dude.
like.
Yeah.
But the thing is, on film, it looked like fresh sweat for
Oh, it's
12
great.
hours.
Yeah, Meredith and her crew, man, they were so
Was
great.
it hard to get off?
Yeah, it was grimy.
Yeah, it's grimy. They had to use special, like
Alcohol.
alcohol to get it off because it was just really stuck on there. But
There was
yeah.
something that she said. It was something that she. It was like you use this specifically, and then it works better for these reasons. So that it doesn't. You don't have to reapply it. Because if you're shooting the same shot for like 20 minutes, that bead of sweat needs to look like it's there the whole time. Didn't
Yep.
move.
Continuity. That's how
Yep.
it is. Yep. But yeah, dude, like this, I can't imagine. I've never worked on just doing VFX. I've never worked on anything as like makeup complex as the Thing. I don't even know the amount of work that goes into that, but like that must be like an all day experience just to get one single shot to look great.
To think that it's all the practical and how incredible it still holds up.
Oh, it's terrific. It's terrific.
It was interesting. Karen brought it up yesterday when she saw it. She asked, "It's like I wonder if it doesn't look dated because they're wearing just those heavy parkas that are not fashion.
Yeah, and it's
conscious."
dark.
There's no fashion to it. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Right.
So this could have been this.
Except the computer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But even the
kinda adds
computer looks
style, yeah.
nostalgic.
Right. Exactly. Because I mean, like in Alien Romulus, they have those computers as well. Like it's all just shitty old weird cathode ray tubes. Because it's stylistic now to do that, and so it still fits today's motif. And Alien, the first one, like Alien, still looks like it was shot yesterday. So But this movie is
The
like
first one is
it's impeccable. Yeah, talk about
It's really
high rotation.
unbelievable.
Yeah, but yeah, this movie is like it does have an abstract, timeless quality to it. Like it feels like it's probably in the 80s, but it doesn't look like other 80s movies. You know, Dean Cundey has a very, very particular look to his cinematography.
I got to tell you, I got it the best screening because I saw it on my TV, which I rarely get to see things at the quality that my TV gets to
Oh,
show
yeah.
them,
Right.
because streaming compresses the shit out of thing no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. But I had the 4K Blu-ray of it, and I watched
Damn,
that,
dude.
and it's like full
Yeah,
HDR,
ridiculous.
full 4K. Wow.
Yeah.
Colors were amazing. That's the other thing. Colors and cinematography, like good.
Mhm. Yeah, it's
That's
pumped.
also timeless.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like that
Oh,
that stuff, like if someone shot it something like that today, it would be like, "Ooh, that looks new and fresh."
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, it would look really new and fresh because almost everything shot today
Oh
looks
my god,
ashen
everything's so
and boring.
fucking flat.
It's so insanely flat. Like, I don't know why that happened, but boy, oh boy, do I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
Like, there are a couple of filmmakers, like, what's his name? The guy who directed Rebel Ridge, which is on Netflix. Very, very good action movie. Named Jeremy Saulnier, who did Blue Ruin and Green Room. Great director. He found a way to plug into the Netflix aesthetics, but to make it look like a lifted, almost McCabe and Mrs. Miller style. Like we'll get the brights up for you, and you'll be able to see everything, but I'll still have my high contrast. So a couple of people have been able to get around it by designing a good color curve. But for the most part, like everything just looks goddamn terrible right now. And I would, if I saw a movie that looked as good as The Thing come out of
You're
Netflix,
saying on Netflix?
oh, just on streaming, not just specifically on Netflix, yeah. But streaming aims for a particular, straight out of the camera raw look, so that everyone can see it on their phones when they watch it on the subway.
Yeah.
And so all the textures there, all the details there, all the everything's jacked up to 10, and you can, like you don't have any problem reading it. It's sort of like the reverse problem of it's almost the identical problem to what TV had when TV first came out. Like the reason why TV photography developed the way that it did is because most people's televisions were incredibly shitty, right? So you shot everything in mediums. And with lots and lots of light on them. So you could so when you got to the end user on their incredibly bad TV with bad static, they'd be like, I think that's Ironsides. And like you figure it out. And now the new shitty TV is watching your phone on the bus. And that's why they shoot it that way. It's the same
New
reason.
shitty TV.
Yeah. But it's again, it trains people so wrong, because like I've got it, like Mank, one of the best looking movies in the past 10 years. People were endlessly complaining about like, this is what Netflix puts up as quality filmmaking, and these frames from Mank, and I'm like, well, it's fucking gorgeous. It's a real shot that's been designed. I'm sorry that some of it's dark. Like, having contrast in your image and designing it this way is not a bad thing. And that you can't see fucking every strand of carpet.
Yeah. Dark is okay.
Yeah. It's
Don't
just
be afraid
insane.
of the dark.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Damn.
Well, that's
dude.
exactly what happened when they saw, shots of The Godfather. They're like, I can't see a thing. What the hell is this?
Yeah.
That's what the studio said when they saw The Godfather.
Yeah. Well, you can kind of tell what's going on there.
Yeah.
I think that's Marlon Brando. I love it. I love when Gordon Willis was like, okay, maybe I did shoot the Godfather 2 bit with the mother a little bit dark. And you see that scene and you're like, that is nearly black. But it's appropriate to the scene. It makes a great scene. But if you try and watch that in the middle of the day on your TV, it's like, nope, that's just a black screen. Nothing there.
Yep.
So I get where Netflix is coming from, but ugh, making artistic decisions according to where, the smallness of someone's phone. It's horrifying.
But that's only Netflix. Other studios,
telephone.
Exactly.
they're not doing that.
What? Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
This control of all output and a unifying look. That's just Netflix doing it, right?
Netflix is really hardcore about it. Yeah. I think that other people.
Netflix has a thing that they don't
Yeah.
want it. So whenever you put on Netflix, it all kind of has a
It
homogeneous
has a standard.
feel
Right.
to it.
Right. Like virtually, you have to be a
Right.
really high roller in order to make it look your own way.
Yeah.
Like David Fincher can do what he wants, but he's the only one. Everybody else has to hit the numbers.
Yeah, it's like Starbucks. They want to make sure you know what you get in there. You're going to get the same
Yeah.
thing. you expect.
Consistency. All the lattes taste the same from Nebraska through to Idaho. Like that's the way it is. That's
I'm starting to notice the same things with Apple. Apple stuff has looked very Apple.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen Apple. Apple stuff is
Yes.
very and
They have
almost
developed a
too
look.
almost. I hate to say this, but almost looks like they're products,
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Like
right?
this is
like a phone or a like an
very
iPhone.
uniform, very
Yep.
very dated.
slick,
Yeah.
but no discernible features.
Yeah. Yeah. It's airport design. You know, it's like
So Ted
Or
Lasso
the
is,
way
is
I was-
airport design.
What was that, Eric?
So Ted Lasso is airport design.
it's airport.
Airport, right?
Yeah.
And you know, in the architecture world, that's Gensler. Gensler is
Right.
like very slick, stylish, indistinguishable from
Meaningless.
meaningless,
Yeah.
but
right.
good. Like you go to a
Right.
Gensler design building, you're like, this is a perfect building. Nice,
Yeah, everything is
great,
executed to the nth
great,
degree. right?
greatly done,
Yeah.
but forgettable.
Yeah, just passes into
nothing,
history.
nothing outstanding. Nothing like, wow, it's got
Yeah.
the bum. You know, it's not like
Yeah.
a Calatrava or a Frank Gehry or whatever. No, it's like it's nice. It's really nice.
Everything is very streamlined and
beautiful,
and just
nice,
passes into nothingness. Yeah,
forgettable.
And I do not. I don't like anything that Apple makes in terms of computer products at all. I have no good experiences with them whatsoever. They're constantly
It's just
frustrating.
funny.
Yeah, man.
Now, here's what's interesting. I heard some interesting stuff. Speaking filmmaking, right? So, 28 Days Later, famously shot on DV cam,
Hmm.
Yeah.
right? Now they're famously advertising that 28 years later, the new sequel that came out, is all shot on iPhone.
Which will look like a regular movie that's shot for Netflix.
Looked fine.
It'll look fine. It's not. There's not gonna be any
Okay.
difference. It's 4K
So
fine.
what I thought was funny was I was talking to the Vergecast, a great podcast about from the Verge technology stuff. It's really good, and there's a quote I want to tell you about in a second. But they're like, it starts to blur the lines when Apple keeps pushing that their phones are the high quality camcorders that they are. It starts to not make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's your phone that you get text messages on and you're shooting a movie on it. What happens when you shoot a movie and you get a
Airport
notification that Spotify has an update? You know, like what, like, you know what I mean?
Airplane mode.
It was not just airplane mode. It's just,
That
it's
blocks
not something
incoming.
I don't give you my phone to make a movie. Like a phone is like owned by you. You log into your account, right?
Right.
It's not like something I can like, here's the phone, shoot the movie.
It's
Right.
a tool, though. That's all it is.
Yeah, but it's a little different than that
Why?
because it's a personal device.
Mm-hmm. Like
It's
if
made personal by you, but the fact is that if it has the ability to just go shoot something,
the
shoot
tool
it.
is the tool for sure.
The tool's the tool. Yeah.
Tool-
It
tool is
is,
a tool.
but it's more than a camera.
But the context
When you take
of the
a
tool,
normal camera that you shoot with, it's just a camera. It's a very good quality camera. This does more than camera things, right?
right?
You
okay.
can't play. So I know that you can just not do those things on that camera, but there's something weird about the
I
same thing
see
that
what-
you
I
play
think
Bejeweled with is
Yeah,
what you're shooting your movie
I totally see
with.
what you're saying. Like it's like because Eric's correct. The tool is the tool. Like I mean, if you're shooting,
You're,
your thing,
he's
the image
100%
is the
correct,
image.
but I'm trying
Absolutely
to
true.
trying to put it
But
in
like,
perspective
but
philosophically.
contextually, in terms of use, like it's weird to be shooting something that is shooting with a tool that is also the stuff that you talk to your girlfriend with. You
Right.
know, like it doesn't put it, like it's a different mindset to shift between to be in that space. And so like if I'm holding up, like for instance, I have my Sony right here. Like when I turn this thing on and I shoot with it, like I'm I'm in picture taking movie making mode, right?
Right.
When I take out my phone, like that's not where I am. Like I'm in like maybe I'll flip through threads. Like it's just not the same space. So
Right.
it is an interesting question as to whether or not that affects your sense of filmmaking, or whether it you think about things a little differently when you're framing things, when that device is of a particular personal context outside of the thing you're usually using it for. I get where you're going. Like it's a little odd. I don't think it. I take a lot of photos on my phone. Like, and I'm very happy. In fact, I take more photos on my phone than I do with my camera. I shoot movies with my camera.
Right.
So you can get into that space for sure. But it is like I think that it all that sort of goes back to, Francis Ford Coppola talking about like soon every little girl in Idaho will be able to make any movie, right?
And his wife's movie.
Right, exactly. And so and the thing is like every little girl in Idaho may end up with a camera, but not every little girl in Idaho is a filmmaker. Like I think that this is what's being proven to be true. It's
Right.
like there's whatever, like 500 hours of content uploaded to YouTube every whatever it is, every minute, every hour.
It's so ridiculous.
We're
It's something
doing
insane.
it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
But that doesn't mean that what is being uploaded is film, is art, and so like like for me that leads to the same argument. I think you guys agree with me on this. Is like when you look at AI tools and whatnot, like I could give a shit if it's AI. I just need a tool that does a thing so I can do it faster, or with a higher degree of accuracy than I could before, so I can make it look the way that I want. And if that's my phone, sounds good, right? But it is interesting that if they're shooting 28 years later on an iPhone and it looks like the thing that they shot The Gray Man with, like what is the value of saying you shot it on an iPhone? Like when you say you shot it on the mini DV in 1999.
Apple sees huge value in people saying that it was shot on an iPhone. They make entire posters that are shot on iPhone.
I know. I also think that they're probably like, look, we made the original so lo-fi that we can't just grab an Arri Alexa and shoot, because and so possibly we'll just do it on the phone.
Right.
What's the next
Well,
step
that was
up?
the evolutionary thing. You're absolutely right, Eric. But you're absolutely right. But it is just this weird thing. Like, does it actually mean anything anymore?
Well, because what it's saying to when when they first shot the first movie and they shot on a mini DV and it looked like shit but looked beautiful, right? Like
it was a different look, though. It was
the fact that like we made what you would think of as shitty look spectacular, and you see its limitations wholesale. Like that's part of the vibe, right? But now the point is you can't tell the difference. All of it's smoothed away, and that's the Gensler-ness of it. Like they've buffed it away. The thing that made it interesting is gone. Apple. You're like, wait a minute. Like if you're going to be making a 28 Days Later movie, like, don't you want to say we took something that you thought would be shitty and we made it look shitty and beautiful?
Right.
Instead, they're like, we now make phones so good that you can't even not take a pretty picture.
Yeah.
Like, eh.
Yeah, you should make a film. You should make a film where it's basically shot on Cricket. Like a shitty phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, shot with a flip phone.
That's the challenge.
That's the challenge.
challenge.
Yeah.
Like you have it fucking easy when you got to shoot it on an iPhone. Christ, you might as well shoot it on an Alexa.
Bet you Apple's gonna capitalize on the shot on iPhone like.
Of course.
Crazy.
I mean, like in one way, obviously, I'm very happy that you get you have access to high quality imagery with your phone. That's terrific. But what is a challenge for me, right, is that in order to get a look that I want, say if I want it to look beat up and nasty, I now have to fake that. I don't have to fight against it anymore. I have to fight backwards.
So this has actually been a conversation about specifically iPhone, but also other phones as well. But it's how much AI is being used in photography on phones now, and the
Which is
choices
quite a
that
lot,
are
I
being
imagine,
made, right?
yeah.
Like
Right.
Apple specifically, and this is true of their films too now, or their TV shows, hates blacks.
Yeah.
So, sorry, that sounds racist. It's not.
They just posted. I couldn't believe it was on Twitter. Well, it makes sense. It's on
No,
Twitter.
they hate anything dark in the shadows, right? And so they lift everything. They fight against it like crazy, right? And in other things, like there are choices that technically can be made, can influence whatever is going to do your pictures, right? And it was interesting. If you look at the original Pixel phones, right? They always had those like, oh, what? When they were starting to come out, it's like the photos look so good on this, and then Apple was like, oh shit, you're losing the battle of. And really, all it is just a choice that was made, an aesthetic choice that was made by a group of people at Google for what they did, and they said we chose specifically a contrast level that closely mimicked Calatrava,
Explain.
the painter.
Oh, okay. Calatrava. Okay.
Right?
Interesting.
So
It's a
his
bridge
paintings are like have a lot of contrast to them.
Oh, here we go. I'm looking at it. Yes. Right.
Right?
Yeah. There we
So
go.
they're like, this is the kind of style of painting that we want. And these are old paintings, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so he's like, that's the style. And suddenly like, oh, and everyone loved it. Then there was like, it was and then Samsung was famous for like, how much color do you want? We'll do that plus 10%.
Yeah. Like, well, it's
Right.
super saturated.
Super saturated.
Yeah, right.
So, and these are choices that are made by corporations in terms of the look of your
Yes.
photographs. There's nothing to do with reality.
Yeah. No, they're trying to sell you back to you. Like, that's the
Right.
whole idea all the time. I mean, like AI is constantly like, oh, it puts a little more red in your face and makes your eyes sparkle a little bit. And like, there's all sorts of weird shit that's going on to sell you back to you all the time.
And get rid of people.
Get rid of people,
Get rid of
whatever you need.
people.
Right. And the thing is, like, from a top level, like, I'm not, I'm as a, like, looking at it from an art point of view, like, as long as I'm aware that that's what's happening, then that's just part of how you surf the tool. Like, the tool is going to do this. So find a way to break it, or find a way to, like, if the bristle is going to bend like this because it's a certain material and that's predictable, then find a way to use that in your art.
Sure.
You know?
I mean, there is color science that happens in film, but I'll tell you what, the color science that happens in professional cameras, companies like Arri, companies like Sony, companies like Red, that is done to be managed by professional color people, not by someone shooting a picture. So I think you lose a lot of that when you just shot on iPhone. You're giving that over to
you're letting other people make.
You're giving it to the corporate decision makers at Apple,
right? Like, at least you have to recognize that is something that you must overcome if you want control of the art that you're making with it. Like, that's just part of the uphill battle, and sometimes that's useful. Like in AI, like when you can't control exactly what the output is, you make use of that. You're like, well, it's fucking uncontrollable, right? And so I'm going to see the beauty in this and take that part in and try and change it into this.
Who was the DP
And you have
on
to
this
surf
thing,
it.
by the way? Coming back to the thing real quick. Who was this?
Dean Cundy.
Dean Cundy.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Anamorphic.
The man I almost killed.
Nice.
You almost killed Dean Cundy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
This
think I
far
told
off.
that story before.
How did you almost
Tell
kill
us.
him?
Might as well repeat it. Some new listeners.
Oh, I was it was like early 90s, and I was going to grad school, and I was also PAing for directors, and I got a job to work on this commercial, and I dare say it was Tony K, but I got to figure and
Dave 3D guy has worked for Tony K as well, I believe. You can correct me,
and
Dave.
I had to pick Dean Cundy up at the airport at the Mark Hotel on the east side, and I had to drive him down to, I think, the Puck building. So I was going to take the FDR, and I went and I passed like Dangerfields, like on First Avenue by 61st or something.
Right.
And I overshot the entrance to the FDR by like 3 blocks. So I just
Yeah.
backed up.
Nice. Let's hear it.
Backed up First Avenue.
Hang on, Dean.
I did. I just said, just hold on. And I put my arm back, and I just took the minivan. I went super fast,
That's
weaving
amazing.
through. And everyone.
Against traffic.
Oh, yeah. And they were just, people were fucking like out of control screaming. I'm
That's
like,
some fucking
just
movie making.
hold on. And I did. And I stopped. And then I put in forward, and I go right on the FDR. And this hand comes on the back of me. It's like, don't ever do that again. And I remember I got there, and then there was a break, and I was outside on like Worcester Street, somewhere by the Puck Building. What is it behind? The Worcester Street is behind it, right? The Puck Building. It's literally where the graveyard is for Mean Streets, right? And Larry's like, "That wasn't good, Eric." Like,
Ripley, you're just grinding metal. Ease down.
I want to just tell you, I was like, I got everybody here on time, Larry. That's all I'm saying right now.
That's it.
Like,
Yeah, man.
You almost killed Dean Cundy.
Yeah.
They were all
Is he
upset.
dead? No.
No.
No problem.
Did I get everybody here on time? Yes.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
Yes, it was daring. I just was
That's
like, I
exciting.
can't screw this up. It's Dean Cundy.
That's
and then
right.
I overshot it. And
That's
I
right.
just was like, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And I scared the shit out of everybody.
Looking back, though, would you do it again?
No.
Or would you go around the block?
I think Dean's still around. You can call him up. Hey, Dean.
I would.
Do you remember going
I would-
backwards on First Avenue, going 3 blocks backwards in the wrong direction on First Avenue?
No. Like everyone. Oh my
It's gonna be fine.
God.
Or it'll be over soon.
I have
Either
it.
way.
I have it. Don't worry.
That's amazing.
Everyone
That's
shut
stunt
up.
driver to Eric's skills, yes. Eric Shealy, tremendous art director and world builder, also stunt driver.
Yeah, it wasn't. I at the time I thought I knew I could do it, so I did it.
Yep.
But
Yeah, it's
you know,
amazing.
I wasn't the best driver. I did hit a lot of things with the truck when they gave me the truck, but
That's, hey, you gotta
York.
make
I
an
took out a
omelet.
Datsun on Long Island City, tried to give the guy $50 for his troubles.
It's a Datsun, dude. It's a Datsun.
I
Don't-
rolled over
don't-
the front of it
don't
with an
make it bust.
18-foot truck. I literally went up and down. I was like, oh, God. I just took this whole front of a brown Datsun out. And this guy, he was Vietnamese, and he's just so pissed at me. And his wife is sticking her head out the window saying, more, like that. And I'm like, excuse me, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Does she
sorry.
understand what I'm
I
saying?
offered him
Too
50
many
bucks. He can buy
cooks
2
in
Datsuns.
the kitchen. And one of my dearest friends, who I'm still friends with, Duncan, was in the truck. I go back, okay, what do we have for petty cash? And she's like, more. I was like, hey, too many cooks in the kitchen.
Do we
You
have-
can't do this.
And you're
It was
like,
Long
we have-
Island City in like in the middle of the afternoon. It was unbelievable.
What do we have in petty cash? You're just like he's flipping through envelopes that say like, okay, let's see, Ford, Kia, Datsun. Here, we got it.
The funny thing is,
No,
that
we hit a Datsun last
Duncan
week.
said
Oh
in the
shit! Just
truck.
we only have
The thing
Citroen
was,
money. Eric,
and
we
I
only have
still-
Citroen money.
I still remind Duncan. I literally was like, "How's my right?" And Duncan's like, "It's fine." So I turned and I went over I just went to the next lane and I totally took out the Datsun. I was like, "I asked you, how was your right?" But all I know, and Duncan stayed in the car. But I do remember being with a guy named Carlo who lived in my building in the village, and he was driving, and he's like, "How's my right?" And I was like, "It's fine." He hit this car, and it was like a Lincoln Town Car mint.
No man.
And I looked in the rearview mirror. I got out. I'm like, "You take this one, Carlo," because he was driving. It was like Joe Pesci and some other guy from like
my God.
Casino. They were,
That's
you know,
amazing.
with the nice the slacks, like the cream-colored white slacks with the
You
leather
dumb
white
motherfucker.
shoes.
Yeah.
And
Hey.
the belt up a little bit higher. What do we got here? You know, it's like I'm going back to the truck. Totally took out the town car.
That's you, pal.
That's you, pal. I'm not touching that. But yeah, that was the Lincoln Tunnel.
Yeah, boy.
But those were the old days, man.
That's when filmmaking was more like Fury Road than.
It was totally Fury Road, dude.
That's
I don't know what
amazing.
it's like now, but it totally was like.
Dude, nowadays you
done.
get a scratch on your bumper, it's cars totaled.
Yeah,
It's
that's bad.
insane
Yep.
how
That's bad.
fast they total cars now.
Yep.
You know, somebody was saying that. I was talking to a guy who said that somebody at this company I'm working with, one of the guys was like, "Yeah, I had a Maserati, and it was some custom, I don't know, I'm not a car guy. It was a custom Maserati or something, and he had a postman's truck in Connecticut, but he was only going like 25, 30, but it screwed the car up so much they had to total it."
Oh God, that's crazy.
because it bent the frame or something.
Right.
That
Right.
It's more than that now. Literally, I saw some guy had a Tesla, and he posted a picture. He scraped a door, like on one of those little pillars, which I have actually done to my car. I've got this scrape, but it's pretty bad. Like, and he's just got it. They got to basically you got to replace the door and a panel, and
Right.
a couple other things. It's so expensive to do that they totaled the car.
They just may as well
Yes.
throw the car away.
It's just
Yeah,
a
exactly.
door.
Yeah. This door is
I've
more than
heard
the car.
that about
How's
the
that
electric
possible?
cars, the Rivians,
Yeah.
because they're actual the pieces of whatever they are to make the body, the coating of it, are more. It's only like 2.
Well, that's nothing to do with electric car. That's just the car design.
No.
itself.
But I'm saying the car manufacturer Rivian.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They make the chassis, the
Yeah,
shell of
one
the car.
unit thing. Yeah.
It's like 1 or 2 units that lock together. So if you dent it, you have to replace like half the car shell,
Right.
and it's so expensive. It could be like $10,000 to replace it
Yeah.
for a bump if you want to tap it out or something. You
insane.
can't do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's actually sad that you have to kill a Tesla because you bumped it.
You don't have to kill it. You just basically they're not going to.
It's not going to
pay
be
for
insurable.
You're not going to insure it, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well,
then you
that's
scrap
enough.
it.
It's a write-off. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
But that's
They're
what I'm
gonna
saying. That's
pull it
killing
apart
it. So
for
you're
parts.
Yeah.
recycling more shit.
Yeah.
It kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The quote I heard today, I was going to let you guys know. I don't. It's not specifically relevant to the thing. Not that we're actually talking about the thing right now, but it was interesting. It was they were talking about AI stuff and about how AI chat stuff is growing a lot now, and the different things that we're demanding out of chats and out of AIs that we're talking to, ChatGPT and Gemini and all of this stuff. And there is so much money and so much promise that's being done now that it's kind of a little out of control, right? Like
Sure.
OpenAI is valued at $150 billion.
It's insane.
It's insane,
insane.
right?
Yeah.
So they said that there was one of the funniest quote is like, basically, if you're an AI company and you haven't built God in the next 5 years, you're going to be in trouble with your investors.
Right. Exactly. That's why they have to say it.
Like-
It's God. We figured it out.
No,
We
it's a
figured out
God. You have to make a God in the
Right.
next 5 years.
Right.
They're not expecting something, really nice working assistant. They want way beyond that. They want beyond human, beyond anything in the next 5 years.
Like
And
I
if you
do
don't
expect
do
things
that,
to
then you're in
get
trouble.
pretty crazy for sure.
Yeah.
But the promises that I've heard, like we just go like, guys, we're not in a fucking science fiction book. Like this isn't Star Trek 5. Like that's at some point you have to realize they're just trying to pump up the stock price. Like that's all that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I
know,
have to
but
say,
that's-
there's a lot in terms of just researching and just breaking down things and understanding and learning. I've been following a few guys in their YouTube channels. It's amazing if you approach it, some of the ways that they're doing it.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing just to break down like full books and stories and histories, not to copy it, but just to be like, how does it structured? And by following these steps,
phenomenal.
it's unbelievable.
Yep. It's
Learning
absolutely
experience.
phenomenal. Yeah.
For sure. It's just more about what it's
People just
going-
want shit.
You're
done.
talking about the bullshit business end where they
There's a
talk
bullshit
about it,
business end, but it's also what this thing does, right? Because what essentially they're looking to do is like, how is an assistant going to work, right?
Right.
So, for example, if your assistant gets good enough to like book me a flight, let's do that because everyone seems to be discussing about AIs helping you book a flight. In order for that to really happen, an AI has to log into a computer for you, use your credentials, bypass all the things that say, I am not a robot,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Do
weird.
all those things, credit card information, all that,
It's a high level of trust to put in something like that. There it is.
right? And it's just, and so then if that, okay, so let's say that works, then what the fuck is the internet except a whole bunch of robots just talking to each other?
That is what the internet will be for certain. Like
Where
absolutely.
no one is like YouTube's watching YouTube's.
Yeah, like that will be.
But you could do that now,
I
though,
know.
because I tie in crypto to one of my AI accounts, and it just asks me, do you want to continue for another $50?
Right.
Da da da. But at the same time, it has access to crypto. You could say, if I don't, if it only is $200, but the point is, imagine if I had $100,000 in the account.
Right. Yeah,
You could
sky's
say,
the limit. Go for broke.
book me an account.
Right.
Yeah, that's weird.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
like I absolutely believe. That,
book me a flight is what
Yeah,
I meant to say.
like
You could, technically, I guess you could do that.
But like I really believe that if it's not true quite now, but like very very shortly, 99.99999% of the information that is being traded around on the internet will be computers talking to themselves.
It already is. I mean,
Like we won't.
Just
like
look
we
at
already,
look at what's going on. I just go to Facebook now, which I
Right.
know is a cesspool. It's getting worse and worse and worse. But it's the amount of non-human generated images and
like
content is
we want stuff
insane.
that
and it's terrible.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
And
like
the
it-
comments on it are like clearly generated by AIs to encourage more AI.
Yeah. And eventually it's just like
yeah.
most of the like, and the thing is like it doesn't matter except that it really does have like an electrical footprint to do that. Like we're burning coal to do that. And most of it is just spinning plates. Like that's not great. That's not a great thing to be doing. I'm as pro AI.
I am going to
tools as
put
anybody.
in, for some reason, I don't have, are we on Twitch?
Yeah. I'm looking at us right now.
I can't seem to get on. I thought I was on, but I will put in the thing that I was talking about is OpenAI, Open Router.
Open Router.
I love Open Router.
I do not know Open Router.
So, and then you can hook up, that's where I hook up my crypto too. And I do, so I'm going to put in the chat Open Router for everybody.
Right.
People probably already know about it, but I like it. It's really strange. I can't stream chat.
I do want to note something while we're doing this, speaking of platforms and stuff like that. For those of you who are listening to this live, Twitch has been great, but we don't really use Twitch that much. I'd encourage you guys, if you do want to watch live shows, to think about moving to our YouTube and just watching it live on YouTube.
I'm actually
Love to
just
have
catching
you
up
there.
on a lot of Jason's commentary on the YouTube chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, jump in there.
So most of our old guys, so our longer time
Also
listeners are
true.
still watching us on Twitch, which is great. But I would say try thinking about using YouTube more. Also, if you do donate to us on, to help support the show on Twitch, I'd encourage you guys to consider using Patreon instead. Patreon pays out much more to us in terms of percentage, and it'd be great to have your support there. So patreon.com/Martini Giant.
And we have to say like and subscribe, right? To
So I
YouTube.
just sent it to everybody.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
and
on
subscribe.
our YouTube.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Um,
We're just using YouTube more these days. I think it's just
it's a little easier.
a little easier and seems to be
And hello, Peter Chameau. We haven't talked to you in a while.
Peter
Shamu,
Shamu.
look at that. There he is. Finally back.
Yeah.
I also want to throw out Day 3D guy said, I'm personally waiting for the first movie shot using a camera obscura. That's what I would like to get back to. That's what I like to be. It's long exposure times, but still.
The lens flares on the
Magnificent.
thing
Can't be beat. Can't be beat.
where, they
There
look
used to
CG.
be-
They looked like J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
This woman used to shoot. I used to.
And they use color a lot on the film too.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so much
Yeah.
color on the thing. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's vivid. Yeah, it's a vivid movie for sure.
Died.
Who's that?
Man,
Who's that?
this woman. She used to be in the next gallery when I used to work in later. She died in 2021. Barbara S. Man, was she a great photographer, and she did really beautiful work. I'll send some over to you guys.
Nice. Put it in
Barbara S. ESS. beautiful stuff. And she's pinhole camera,
Yeah, that's great. That's cool. Yeah, I love
right?
that book.
So Barbara, and then ESS.
There was
It was
guys I
great.
work with where I went to architectural school with. They made a pinhole camera that was
That's what she
the
used.
size of a room.
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen
That's
those.
like Dave's camera obscura idea. Exactly. Yeah. Like the thing is, I live. There's a movie called I can't remember. It's something. Anyway, they got a bunch of filmmakers like David Lynch, etc., to shoot with the Lumiere cameras, like the oldest camera. And
I've seen those.
yeah, and it's super cool. It's really cool. And like it's just an example of like when you have weird limitations, like fighting against those limitations to make things look groovy is part of the artistic experience. Like it creates something unique because you are fighting up against it, like mini DV for 28 Days Later, and I think the great challenge now across the board from AI to Apple products to all that stuff is what you're really fighting against it instead of how limited it is, you're fighting against how unlimited it is. Because like if you don't do anything, then like you're saying, Chris, you're just letting other people make decisions for you. And so everything ends up looking like the Netflix look as opposed to your look.
Right. I'm sure Netflix would love it if they could just hand people like, here's the camera, here's the LUT. You can only use that.
And you can only use that. It's locked, right?
Yeah.
And that is I think that because my feeling as everyone knows,
That's certainly what they do with scripts.
yeah, exactly, right? And so like and everything everything we've seen, especially for the past decade with big movies, etc., shows you that finding mechanized, polished ways to keep on repeating the same stuff makes you go broke eventually.
Right.
Like strip mining old material makes you go broke eventually. Like that is not the way to play the game, right?
Right.
It's trying to find weird new things that reinvigorates the cash flow.
Right. And well, yes, they tried to bring back the thing. The thing, ironically, is a remake, which is also something.
Yeah, but it's a perfect example of a remake.
Right.
That's what you should do when you remake something.
Right. You should make it relevant to what's going on.
Yeah, something completely reinvented.
Right.
Because the thing is so much a John Carpenter experience. Like, it doesn't matter how much you love the original. Like, you'll be like, well, this is a brand new movie. Right. And that's what all sequels and anything should be. It should be a brand new movie.
It is a great example of redoing something well.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm wondering. I always wondered about that because, there was talk after the success of Tron or semi-success of Tron was to have Joe Kosinski do The Black Hole.
Oh, yeah. God, I would love to see a remake of The Black Hole. That's a perfect movie to remake. Because it's not that great.
It's not that good a movie. Right?
It has a lot of brilliant stuff in it.
Yeah. What's more daring is to take a movie
that's kind of
could have been great,
and
make it better.
Like there is such moments of genius in The Black Hole that it's like runs hot and cold, like you can't believe. Like the imagery is insane, the music is beautiful, and then it gets really like super 70s Disney bad, and it's all over the place. But that is a great movie to remake. Like that could be a visionary movie if you really took control of it. Absolutely true. That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Werner Herzog's The Dark Hole.
Oh man, I'm fucking doing it, man.
Hole.
Absolutely. But yeah, like it's funny because I was I said to Freddie, I think at the top of the thing, where I just told you guys, I'm reading this book here, Conquest of the Useless by Werner Herzog. It's absolutely fantastic. It's about the making of Fitzcarraldo, right? And he is famous for using this actor named Klaus Kinski, and Klaus Kinski was insane. Like
he really
violently
was.
insane.
You can go online and see him have press interviews and just go ape shit.
Yeah.
He just like little tinder going up in a forest, like
over
it doesn't
ludicrous
take much.
Things. Absolutely ludicrous nonsense, right? And in that book, there's loads of stories about like Kinski just flies off the handle about someone's opinion about something or other. He goes over and starts humping trees or he's a lunatic, right? But this isn't the first time he worked with Kinski. He'd worked with Kinski on Akira Wrath of God and had an equally nightmare time working with the guy. And so he's shooting Fitzcarraldo. He originally cast Jason Robards. He hates Jason Robards. He's like, Jason Robards is a coward and won't come out of his tent and won't do anything that we're trying to do. And he's not on board artistically, and fuck that dude. And he's happy when he goes. He loves Mick Jagger, like loved Mick Jagger. Because Mick Jagger was there to fucking do anything. He's just like, let's go, man.
But I
fucking
think the 81 tour got in his way.
Yes, that's right. And Herzog's like, that's how we took too long making the movie before, and we lost him, and that's my fault. He doesn't blame him at all, but he loved Jagger. But he eventually goes to replace Jason Robards, replaces him with Kinski, and everyone's like, but you had such a bad time with him before. What's going on? And you read it, and you realize that Kinski is the unknowable element. Like, that's what he wants to work with. Like, here is the unmanageable thing that by trying to manage it, I will focus and make better stuff. It's like choosing to have the shark be broken. It's like, I don't want the fucking shark to work. I want Klaus Kinski here. I don't know what the fuck that dude's going to do. And because of that, I have to think super hard about the movie I'm making, because there's every chance he's going to climb to the top of a tree and jump off. I don't know. I have no idea. And he wedges himself in the position of saying, fuck it, I'm going to make it hard on myself. Just like when they made 28 Days Later, I'm just like, I'm shooting on a mini DV camera and I'm going to make a feature Hollywood film on zombies. Like, I'm setting hard limitations that I have to think my way out of this puzzle. And that's what's going to drive me to come up with great answers. And when people use now when people use iPhones or, like anything where it's like decisions are made for, even AI Midjourney stuff, like, if you don't execute control, it'll look fine. It'll look fine. It won't look like great art, but it will look fine because someone else has already made the decisions about what that is. Right. And
that's why photos look like the same.
The same. All photos look the same, right?
Go to Instagram. Look at what Instagram
it all looks the same. And it's really, really hard. Thanks so much. It was really, really, really hard to fight uphill against the thing that is trying to make your thing look fine. Like, that is the big challenge artistically now. Everything is getting smoothed out, not just at the money level, not just at the producer level, not just at the screenplay level. Like, the actual technical level of the equipment is trying to buff away all of the things that could be the challenge that makes you make a great decision. That's a problem. It's aiming for mediocrity. It's baking mediocrity in, and now you have to fight against it.
Yeah. I agree. I actually agree with you. I always agree with you, but I agree.
That is the thing.
But there's that cat is out of the bag, though, unfortunately.
It is.
And
I don't think people realize.
They're not winning. Yeah. But they do the same thing they've always done, where like, sequels are the problem. No.
Nope. Nope. It's the system. It is the system.
You are the problem.
Yes.
It's the person that's saying sequel is the problem. Right.
And now Dave 3D will back me up on this. When they were making the thing, right, they had to, I forgot whether it was a writer's strike or something, in the middle of production, they had to stop, right, for many, many weeks. And Carpenter had a moment to step back, look at all the footage, go over the script, go through stuff, rewrite it, like work with Lancaster, tighten it up, make it better, and make it their own. Like, they actually had time to work on the movie properly, right? Same like when they were up and shooting in Vancouver, like, the producers couldn't come and fuck with them up there. It was a fucking blizzard, right? These things were gifts that made the movie better, right? And now, like, Ben Hansford, our AD and fabulous director, and I were talking about this, and he was talking about when George Miller shot Fury Road, he insisted on shooting this out in the middle of somewhere like in Central Africa or northern Africa or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And he specifically insisted on that because no fucking bean counters were going to take that flight.
No.
They weren't going to come out there and manage his shit.
Right.
Like, they might come out there for one day, but after that, it would be too hard. And then he would survive and he'd get the art that he wanted. That's what you have to do now. Because, like, the biggest trick the devil ever pulled, right, is making it easy on you. Like, right now we have it easy.
That's the thing, though, right? That's the thing that's so scary about filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's an art, technically, or supposed to be at least. It's freaking expensive.
It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very expensive. So, yeah. Bean counters will go out there. They just shouldn't be the ones making decisions.
Exactly. Go count your beans.
Yeah, but still, someone's going to have to be responsible for when it doesn't come out. Someone's going to have to be responsible for when, Joker.
Oh, man, they're sharpening the hatchets right now, man.
Yeah.
You know it. That's that.
I don't know. I'm
We
shocked.
were going to do something edgy. We were going to make a musical, and it failed. I told you so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked that the reviews are that bad.
It's really out there. So yeah, I'm really curious. Like, really curious. It may just be a bad movie. You know, that may be just what happened. But once in a while, these things bomb because they're good, and it's the wrong kind of good. It would be wonderful.
I don't
if
know.
that's
You
true.
can say that about Cats.
Yeah, no, that's actually, Cats is a perfect example of studio given complete control, and that's why it's horrible. Like, everything about it's every bad decision all at once. And I expect maybe Joker's probably bad, but like there's plenty of examples of movies that in their time were thought of as terrible, and everyone looks back and goes like, oh, wait a minute, that was actually great. It's just that we weren't ready for it. So, like The Thing, for instance, which bombed horribly on its opening.
It's strange. But if it was against E.T., I get it.
Yeah, it was just the wrong mood, man. You're saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's why people have issues.
It was also a horror film.
Mm-hmm.
And a hard one.
A very, very bleak, nasty.
Think about that
film.
ending. Like, you could never do an ending like that today.
It'd be so hard, dude. It'd be so hard. And the level of, like, it's impossible to match the level of shock this gore offered to a mainstream audience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no comparison. Like, there's a movie out with Demi Moore now that's supposed to be quite good called The Substance, which is a body horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm apparently very, very crazy gory. But people have now gotten to the level where they're like, yeah, okay. Like, I can accept that. That's okay in the context.
I mean, that was so much torture stuff, like Saw and all those other weird things.
Right. And so, like, people have risen to the level of being able to deal with that. But in 1982, like, this is like the New York Times. Yeah, Carpenter picks on this all the time. I think it was the New York Times called him a pornographer of gore for this movie.
Huh.
And I'm just like, there's much gorier stuff made today, but there's nothing so beautifully artistically gory as this movie. Like, this is a real crazy work. This is like
it's
garden
gorgeous.
it's the Garden of Earthly Delights of film. You know, it's absolutely outstanding. Yeah. But they couldn't see it back then. They just couldn't wrap their heads around it. It was too new and too bold, and said things they didn't want said. And that's why it's a classic now. But not when you're up against E.T. No shade to E.T. E.T. is a great movie.
Yeah. E.T. is a great film.
But
I haven't seen it in 30 years.
Do it one day.
It's terrific.
It's funny because Karen was younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
She is younger than me by a couple of years, and so she was very young when she saw E.T. because everyone went to go see E.T.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, "Fuck no!"
This is horrifying.
Some really disturbing alien living under my bed. No way.
Thing looks like a ham. What is that?
Nope.
Yep.
Not cute. Not cute.
Yep.
Disturbing.
And now when you watch that movie, you're like, oh, this is a divorce movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's the actual
The movie
subtext
it's
through the whole film.
It's a single mom movie.
It's a single mom movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really interesting. But yeah, like,
it's Spielberg dealing with that.
yeah, 100%. 100%.
Mom's gone, so I invent a friend.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
dad's gone.
Dad's gone. My family's fucked up. I'm hallucinating. Like this is what's happening. Yeah, but it's a great film, and it's one of Spielberg's like that's the sort of the capper for that run from Jaws
From
through
him,
to that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and and of course you had so many other great things that year. You had Rambo, as Jason pointed out, which is actually a great film. The first one, First Blood.
First Blood is awesome.
Yeah, great, terrific film. You have Star Trek II,
Brian
Wrath of
Denny.
Khan. You got Poltergeist comes out, which is I'm surprised that Poltergeist isn't talked about more as an absolute classic, but that's an absolute classic.
Yeah, which is interesting because a lot of people think of Poltergeist as a Spielberg film, but it technically is not.
No, that is 100% Tobe Hooper. I mean, I think that it's like there's a finish and polish to it that
There's
is
a very,
Spielberg.
very Spielberg feeling to it.
Yeah, absolutely. He has strong artistic control and influence on that movie, but
Well,
it
he
is
was
a Tobe
producer
Hooper.
on it or something, at least.
He's producer. He wrote it. He wrote the screenplay. It's a great screenplay. But it is a Tobe Hooper mechanism. And like I was actually talking to Ben this morning about this. I'm like, Tobe Hooper is a master. He's not like the greatest director of actors in the world, which is, I think Spielberg kicked in a little bit on that for Poltergeist. But structurally, in terms of scaring the fuck out of you, like there's rarely been, like maybe Hitchcock. Like Hooper is really, really, really great. And he does this trick of like, he saves, and it's a little bit in the thing too. Like he'll play it slow for a little while, but when the bomb goes off, it's crazy. And that's what the thing does. It's like Carpenter is just like, you slow burn it until you get to the dog. And then the audience is instantly overwhelmed. It's so much more than you ever expected.
Oh, it's that classic. That escalated quickly. It goes from the dog is hanging out in the kennel. Okay, so the dog's hanging out in the kennel.
Whenever somebody says that, I always think of Anchorman. Well, that escalated.
That escalated quickly
after all the fights between the different.
They got suddenly spears and whatnot. Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, like that's the thing, because like there's nothing to set up the dog's face just exploding. Like you've not seen anything like that in this film so far whatsoever. And then it's just right there in close up, in big, meaty, red, ridiculous close up. And it's out of control. And like you said, Chris, like when you see this on a proper 4K edition, the color
that's the way you do it.
Insane. That's like the pot of spaghetti in the end of Goodfellas. You're like, whoa, that is red.
Yeah, the pink lens flares or the magenta lens flares against the cyan background is amazing. Dave Grudy is pointing out that Siskel and Ebert in 1982 reviewed the thing, calling it the barf bag film of the summer.
Wow.
That's good. God bless him. God bless him. Sometimes Ebert picked it. Sometimes
actually, I guess, that just goes to show, right? Like, this is considered one of the great horror films around.
Yep.
Right? Classic.
Yep.
Very good. Not kitsch value. This is like,
no, it's straight up
in
works.
terms of what it's trying to tell you and the story and the depth and the complexity.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
Yep. That was rejected when it first came out. Yeah. Absolutely. Like that was that. And like and that's the thing is like as it relates to movies today, like with the Thing 2011, which is a perfectly good movie, right? The process of making that movie, like initially they had done all these pretty nifty practical gags, right?
Oh, they were gonna like, look at me, we're not doing CG,
right? But I say you can watch the making of online. You're like, oh, those are pretty neat. Like that's some good stuff. Like they're not as clever as the stuff in the first, but it's like, well, those are really interesting. That's great puppet work. That's really interesting. And if they had committed to that, I think that would have looked really cool. But halfway
through, the story.
It's not the story, right? The story is a couple of interesting things, but they're largely just repeating the beats of the Thing, which is a big mistake, right? And then because the movie is sort of like, okay, the producers freak out and they're like, no, we can't do this and have puppets. Like we have to cover those up with CG right away and do it for no money and in 1/3 of the time. And so like everything about it comes off half-assed, like every single thing. And like, because every decision is made out of fear of losing money. Right. Which is every decision made in Hollywood right now. Like, how do we not lose money? Like, instead of how do we make money, It's how do we not lose more money? And that's when you're in the death spiral,
Right.
And it
That's not a good spiral to be in.
that's of the worst spirals. And unfortunately, sometimes like you make a thing like the thing, and even audiences don't realize its greatness, and it takes many years, even decades, to make money for you. But now the thing is an incredibly valuable IP. Like it grew up and out of the hole that it was sunk in, and now it's like, oh, we should make another sequel to the thing. And there's a Thing video game coming out, like, which is real. Like there's a remake of a Thing video game coming out in a few months. Like,
wow,
that is it's an absolutely live IP, and I'm sure there are heavy talks about how can we get Jordan Peele to remake this film. Guaranteed.
Oh, I'm sure there's a thing. Or can we tie franchise with The Thing and Alien and Predator?
Yeah, crossover with the Avengers, something like it. It'll be Joker 3, The Thing. Yep.
Yeah.
good idea. That
Absolutely. And that's not how you make money.
No.
That's how you make short money. That's not how you make
There's
money.
gotta be a reason for, like, I just hope, like, we're in a weird time right now.
yeah,
You know, there's a very big split that's happening with social media that's driven a political regime changes across. And this is not obviously just the United States. We've had some extreme right governments that are being elected into offices in Europe as well. So
Germany's having problems. Yeah, France, all this stuff.
Austria just had
Austria.
an extreme right person elected to office.
Right.
So there's reasons for these motivations that are happening out there. You know, screw your neighbor.
Yeah, don't trust you. I do
Don't
not trust you.
neighbors.
I'll trust the story about you over knowing you.
Right.
You know?
I heard an interesting theory, by the way, from Karen. She said, I have a feeling that Trump thinks that all these immigrants are being leaked out of insane asylums
Sure.
because people are seeking asylum in the United States.
Oh, they want to go to a different asylum, a nicer asylum.
He's confused by the term asylum.
Right. They're seeking asylum, like Bedlam.
And that's why he thinks they're all coming out of insane asylums in Africa.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I never thought about it right there, but
I didn't either.
I think you're onto something.
I think that's
There, Donald.
him just being confused
It's easy.
as an old man.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So I was like, yeah, they're seeking political asylum or economic asylum or whatever. It's like, they're crazy. They're coming from asylums.
Right. Do you know? Can you just explain quickly to me what you think that word means?
What exactly do you mean? They're eating the cats and the dog.
They're eating like that was I was just like, wow, he is just nailing that one down. He's like, I don't give a shit if it's not true. I'm going to say it live now. I'm really loudly
Well,
and
what was
forcefully.
weird is hearing J.D. Vance saying, it doesn't matter if it wasn't true.
Oh,
we
God
needed to
bless
bring
him.
He
attention
said
to
that?
it. He did.
Uh-huh.
What?
He's
He
like,
said it
sometimes-
doesn't matter. What it did
some-
is it got everyone's attention.
Right. Sometimes I will say
He
things. to
literally
draw-
said
yeah.
that. So he said, you're saying you know it's not true. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's not true.
Yeah. It'll draw attention to the fact that it's the not true thing.
People needed to pay attention to what was
He
going
said
on.
that at
Yep.
the debate.
No,
Yeah.
he didn't say that debate. He said that to an interview with CNN.
Yeah. I mean, this is like he said at the debate with what's his name,
Waltz.
Walt. When he said I thought there was gonna be no fact checking. When you're like, what does that say about you? Like, okay, sure, they said there was gonna be no fact checking, but that means you're pretty aware that what you're saying isn't real.
Yeah.
Like what's going on in your brain?
Yeah.
But like the thing is,
Facts are very, very liberal.
yes, exactly. It's blue state. My facts are a blue state.
Facts are a blue state's problem, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it was very interesting. Like I talked to someone he said something and I replied, I was like, well, that's not true. And I showed a Snopes and he's like, don't give me a Snopes. Snopes is so horribly biased. I'm like, you mean fact checking is biased against the right? Okay.
Oh man, it's hard. It's hard. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, but anyway, but I do think that, like the eating the ducks and the cats, the best part of that was seeing her response on the camera, just laughing at him.
Dude,
Like,
it's
oh my
insane.
God.
Well, the thing is, me we're all like, what is happening for us? Like, and this, I mean, on both sides, is that this is like watching enemy sports teams.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we just fucking talk nonsense about meaningless things and get super angry and roll cars. Like, none of it is real. None of it is
None
real.
of it really should matter either.
No.
What matters, the anger is a problem. But
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, there's plenty of real subjects that should be talked about and have real political discussions about to make decisions. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, like, we're talking about all this stuff as if we will kill someone else's kid for it, and none of us will. None of us are prepared to do that until someone else kills one of our kids. And then it's just going to be about that. It's not going to have anything about, like, it's like I've said before, like, it's like some hardcore Republican dying, like he's holding his dying kid in the middle of the street in the middle of an American Civil War, and he's not going to be saying, well, at least I kept bathrooms for men and women. Like, this was worth it. My kid died, but it was fine. No one's going to feel that way, because that is definitely not worth it. Like, that's fucking stupid if you think that way. And if people could just rise up and have some perspective and go, like, maybe we could actually do some actual government process and talk about stuff for real. Instead, we're deep in emotional territory of thinking of the other as the other, and fearing them and thinking the worst of them and not trusting them. And they are the thing. They are the thing. And now I can't, they might be the thing anyway. I don't know. It's my own family and it might be the thing. Maybe I should never talk to my family again. Cool. That is not great for social cohesion.
yeah.
If you're concerned about government being bad, this is not the best choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, like,
not a good time, guys.
It's not a good time, and it's not going to end with the election, no matter what happens, because there's too much fucking money to be made.
Oh yeah, it's about money. It's about selling red hats, and it's about whatever else you're doing.
It's eyeballs on Instagram, dude. That's what it is. That's what they're selling.
Yes, it's about eyeballs on Instagram.
Yep. And all of that is a virus, just like this fucking monster in this movie, and it's just endless.
Don't trust anyone.
This is why this movie is one of the greats of all time, because the metaphor applies to literally everything that sucks. This movie is just like, you can, like, you watch this, no matter, like, if I watch in the middle of COVID, you're like, this is about COVID. Watch it during the election, this is about the election. It's a flawless film. It applies to everything. It says something true about our nature.
It's about civil rights.
It's about civil rights. It's, hey, man, like, all of it works.
It's about my body, my choice.
It's about Joker 2. It's about Joker 2. I knew it was about Joker 2.
It's about Joker 2.
Yeah, it's true.
I really want to see that now.
Yeah, I know. I'm really curious.
I'm curious too. I felt similar about like Asteroid City, and I was like, I'm going to see that. And I was like, wow, it's worse than I thought. Not that it was bad. Right. I mean, and I meant by worse, I mean, it's like, it's so Wes Anderson. It's just too Wes Anderson. Like,
well, I think
I'm just going back. It's like, you had something special with Rushmore. You had something special with
Rushmore is still my personal favorite.
Right?
Yes.
You had a cookie. Now, when you got to Tannenbaums, I was like, okay, you're going a little more on the eccentric side.
Right.
But this one is like, okay, well, let's just go there.
Well,
I mean, it makes Grand Budapest Hotel feel like Die Hard.
That's amazing. Yeah, like I really think, because I mean, I've gone back to Wes Anderson films that I didn't like because they were too Wes Anderson, and I've sort of gone like, oh, this isn't, like, I didn't love Grand Budapest the first time I saw it, and I watched it again. I was like, no, actually, this is pretty charming. I like this. And I think what it really has to do is, like, exposure to Wes Anderson films fills up your Andersonometer. And
but
like it, but like if you're topped out,
why can't he just go a little? Make believable characters. I think they're not believable anymore.
Just as an artist, I think it would be healthy for him to step out of his comfort zone.
I don't think he's ever going to do that.
But I don't think he's doing bad work. I think he's doing good work.
But
I
he
think
himself
that
has done great
he's
work.
well worn at this point. Yeah. And I think that it leads people to be in a limited mindset about what they're watching, and the things that he is getting out of it, they may not be receiving anymore.
It's almost like he's like, oh, I've seen all these parodies of myself, and I'm gonna one up them. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It's because I very much enjoyed Asteroid City. I actually really loved the one that I loved recently from him is The French Dispatch. I thought that was great, and it really, really I plugged into that one in the right way. So I think it's there for any of those movies. They're all really nicely made.
It's also the dialogue that's just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's so formal now. Yeah, it's 100% formal.
It's starting to become an inside joke.
Yeah,
it's just too much.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing what he wants to do. It's okay. It's fine. Do whatever you want to do, Wes. Yeah, it's fine. You're doing it. You're doing it the way you want to do it, hardcore.
Here's the thing, right? He did that in things like Rushmore. He did that.
Right.
But there was feelings.
Rushmore, the reason why I love Rushmore so much is because it has flavor and style, but it feels like it's a projection of Max. This is how Max wants to see the world.
That's
right.
Yeah. And
that's why it's working. It's reflecting back on the character and making me like them more and making me a little bit sadder for them.
Right. And so maybe this is what we're seeing like Asteroid City is Max making a movie.
Is a Max movie. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think that's very true.
That's probably what it is. But that's not
right.
While I was entertained by Max's Vietnam
it's a little esoteric and inaccessible.
Yeah.
I think that's
it's inaccessible. It's a joke within a joke. It's up for
I think that's exactly nails it. It's Max's movie. It's not Wes Anderson's movie.
Yeah. And where it's like if Max really made if he would start making movies like Max's plays, I'd be like, yeah, make that shitty Apocalypse Now. That sounds good. But but that's the thing is I think that for all these directors, and I'm one to talk because I haven't directed a feature yet, but for all, you have Scorsese, all these guys, I would, if they should do whatever they want to do. They're artists, but if I could ask them to do anything, it'd be stop making things in the way that you have been making them. Marty,
that's going to be tough.
Yeah, work with 20 people on your next movie instead of 1,000. See what happens, because you're obviously still creatively massively invested. Find out what happens. If you really want to discover some new stuff, see how far you've come since Mean
Well,
Streets.
maybe we need to find the next Marty, right? That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
When Marty was doing that stuff, he was a little different.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
mostly he was stuck in a trailer doing Blow. And
this is true. He's made movies about that too. But but that's the thing is right now you have a really unique problem in that in say in the 60s when we talk about this all the time, when we had the pillow talk problem, where it's just nothing but studios we can make crappy things for the rest of our lives and it's gonna be great. Crash. Nobody wants to see this stuff anymore. They had the nobody wants to see this stuff anymore angle to push them. People didn't want to see Doris Day anymore. They didn't want to see, shitty Westerns anymore. But right now, we both have the studios making lots of the same bullshit. And for the most part, audiences think they want the bullshit until they don't, and they don't know what it is would replace that. It's a generation of this garbage now. With
they
no
don't know
Mean
any
Streets. They don't exactly. It's the Michael J. Fox speech from The American President when he's when Michael Douglas says Michael J. Fox says they're so desperate for leadership they'll crawl across the desert to find it, and when they find that it's just a mirage they'll drink the sand, right? And then Michael Douglas goes, no, they'll drink the sand because they don't know the difference. Right. That I'm kind of on Michael Douglas's side right now. I'm just I don't know if we know the difference anymore.
Yeah.
We're drinking sand.
Well, it's also the thing is why America's number one country, because it's we're not the number one country. And that was the one thing that was amazing. It's we're third in this, we're this, infant mortality is we were actually a pretty bad country. We're not number one country. I don't know why we keep fooling ourselves into thinking we're the number one country.
It would be nice to be that, because that means everything's going
We're the
great.
best. We're American.
Yeah.
We're the best. Number one.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Yep.
Mm,
Not as far as education goes, I can tell you that. Not as far as healthcare goes.
And for mortality, no.
Yeah.
Longevity, no.
Yeah,
Healthcare system, no.
no,
Definitely not healthcare.
definitely no. Yeah, but that's it, dude. I think this is like when you've been
Military, yeah.
military. Hell yeah, that's right. But that's I think that's the system that we like. I feel that we like. That's what I want to see come back at all age levels, is wanting to see something fresh. Like that's what's missing for both studios and audiences right now, is that taste for something really out there, daring, interesting, and new. Because studios don't want to risk it, and people don't want to see it, and the art just languishes, and everyone feels sort of like, well, it's not good on TV anymore. Like that's not good. You can't live there forever. That's the that's the Antarctica situation.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I don't see I don't see studio heads today finding a solution out of the problems right now.
Yeah. And again, to be fair, like especially younger folks, like they are finding it, but not in movies. They are finding it and creating it in art and video games, and all sorts of new media. But movies are being left behind because of the studios and fucking fanboys.
Well,
Fan
they just keep
bases.
remaking the same shit.
Yeah.
Because they thought, well, we'll just make another Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
If that's what the movies are, it's just nothing but nostalgia for when movies were great.
Yeah, man, it's like that's a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox. Like eventually, it's just gonna look like hash.
I know, but sometimes Xeroxes of Xerox kind of look cool.
There's a moment, yeah, maybe it'll get there. That's true. Maybe Ghostbusters Afterlife 10 would be like, what is this? Maybe we got there with Joker. We just don't know yet.
I so want to see Joker now.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh.
It's interesting that Joker comes out and flops, and Megalopolis comes out and flops, and like both these things, I'm just like everything I've seen from Megalopolis, I'm like, what the fuck is that thing?
Yeah,
like everything. Like I'm just like I don't know if you can even say it's bad or good. I'm just like that doesn't look like anything that is made for movies.
And he spent his own money.
Spent his own money.
100 million, didn't he?
Yeah,
120.
120. God bless him, dude. God, that's like that to me is. I don't care if I like it or not. It doesn't make any difference. But like
a lot of wine.
A lot of wine. Like whatever is on the screen there, even if I think it's bad, like that's what he wanted.
For $560.
That's insane, dude. Wow.
You have to look it up, but I think that was the number.
Yeah,
like
that's bananas.
The
Coppola
wine, everything. I think it was $560. That's just a
incredible.
lot of cash. So,
have you seen the clip of Adam Driver saying "Go back to the club"?
No.
Oh my god, it's the best. Like he's arguing with this other character, and she's like, "You don't take me seriously." And it's just like, "No, I don't take you seriously." So, and he goes, "So go back to the club." It's just like such a weird pronunciation of it. The people have now remixed this into dance songs. I'm just like, this is already now worth it. No matter what Megalopolis is, it's making people make other art. It's done its job. Go back to the club.
You know what I heard today that I didn't realize it was funny? You know that song, You're Unbelievable? You know that song?
Yeah.
You're Unbelievable. You know that? And then after he says that in the song, he goes, oh. You
know
that?
Yeah. Right.
That's Andrew Dice Clay.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's great. Oh. Bada bing.
Boom. Hey. Little Miss Muffet sat on the top of it.
Oh. That's amazing. That's almost as good as finding out that the scream in the park in Tar is from the Blair Witch Project. That was like one of my favorite things to hear. I was like, that's awesome. They should have paid him for it, but it's still great.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I think we've beaten this dead dog.
Beaten this thing down. That's right. Well, fucking great movie. Absolutely. If you haven't rewatched this,
good.
It is.
And happy Halloween special to everyone. It was a lot of fun talking about this thing, this more specifically, the thing. a movie that was not well reviewed and not well liked, and is now considered to be a great film. And I don't think people realize it. And there's a lot of films that we've covered that have been like that. Blade Runner is another one that's like, you know,
Even like Apocalypse Now, and like which did okay business when it came out, but everyone was just like, "Well, it's done, it's fine." I'm like, how the fuck did that not win Best Picture?
Yeah.
Like what else? What like how do you not see how great this is? What's going on?
happens all the time. Man.
Yep, that's it.
It's the weird politics behind things, especially like we were just, you know, remember we were talking about a Tron Legacy didn't get a single Oscar nomination, not even visual effects.
No,
which
nothing. That's right.
highly should have been best costume, best music.
Yeah.
those
I mean,
are-
and now that is a very a highly thought of movie by younger generations. They
and I'm-
think that's a great
it's,
film.
yeah, it's big time. And I'm really wondering what's going to happen with the new one, but also like, you know, how the new one's going to look as well. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's starting to look interesting.
Yeah, no, I'm all for it. And they got Nine Inch Nails doing the soundtrack. I was like, give it to me. I love it. Go for it. That twiddles my Gen X bones.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the Gen X legacy is going to be Tron, the Tron trilogy. that's what we remembered for.
I still think, you know, there's still movies out there to be remade. Like we said, the Thing, like The Black Hole would be a great version.
Oh,
of it.
absolutely.
If
The
there's
number.
a-
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
if Villeneuve does a version of The Black Hole, that'd be
That guy.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh!
Go ahead.
You know what I'm excited about is
What's that?
Project Hail Mary. Talk about
Oh
original
God, yeah.
sci-fi.
Fucking great
That
book,
is
dude.
being
Great
made
book.
right now, and
Yeah.
Paul Lambert, our good friend Paul Lambert, is VFX supervising that.
He is so goddamn good.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
little old Paul, who I used to sit next to on the Tron and Oblivion,
Yeah,
now's
he
got
is a
3
master.
Oscars.
Yeah. An absolute master and one of the nicest guys in showbiz.
Super nice.
Like, so fucking cool. That guy.
Super nice.
Great dude.
Knows
Great dude.
how to pick him. Knows how to.
Oh shit, man. Yeah.
Man, he can. I mean, like, you know, First Man, and then Blade
Dune,
Runner
Dune
2029,
2, Blade Runner,
Dune 2,
yeah.
and Dune 2, Dune 1, and Dune 2.
Unbeatable.
Wow.
Unbeatable, that
He
guy.
does know how to pick them.
Yeah.
Incredible. No, I'm really looking forward to it. And Dave 3D is a big fan of the book. He got me to read Andy Weir, and that's one of the best science fiction books of
Eric,
the new
you
century.
would love that.
So
Really?
fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
Project-
Project
First of
Hail
all,
Mary?
first thing is,
Yeah.
I would recommend Lily bought it. It's on sale on Steam right now. Buy
Disco
Disco Elysium.
Yeah.
She's playing it. She's been doing screen captures of these hilarious dialogue choices that people.
Oh my
like.
God, so good.
So
Endlessly
funny.
good, that game.
So
Talk about
funny.
work of art. Yeah, incredible.
The dialogues are like crazy.
Pristine.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll get it.
Yeah. And then so that, and then Project Hail Mary, the audiobook specifically is
Very
very good.
Very, very good. Yeah.
Very
Oh,
good.
really?
Yeah, the audiobook
Breeze
specifically.
too. A total breeze.
Because not to give away too much, but sound has a lot to do with the success of that film. So
Burt Reynolds did the voice for the.
Burt Reynolds
No.
was the voice of Rocky.
Hey,
It's
come
true.
on!
Yeah.
I said, let's get in the ship and get out of here.
hey, you're Rocky.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's like, I mean,
Who
basically.
who was the one on SNL who always used to do an imitation?
Oh, there was
of
Norm Macdonald did
Norm
that
Macdonald.
one.
Yeah.
And so did what's his name who was shot?
Phil
Phil
Hartman.
Hartman.
Phil Hartman. That's right. But
Yeah,
Norm
man,
Macdonald did the one I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds.
Uh-huh.
It's a funny hat. It's a big hat. That's why it's funny. Yeah. Oh man. Yep. No, I mean
He's another one
basically.
that passed away.
Yeah, it's true. God bless that guy. It was
You know
funny.
what was
He
the
a funny
funniest
man.
Norm Macdonald thing I saw? It was because, you know, he died suddenly, or seemingly suddenly.
Well, he announced it. He didn't announce that he had cancer or whatever
Right.
it was until very late in the game. Yeah.
But there was a mix that someone put up on YouTube, and it's a mix of Norm Macdonald, who tells a joke constantly about how he said it many times, but basically it's like, you know what we should do? It's like, we should kill that. We should kill that Hitler. Man, he's really bad. It's like, but Hitler's dead. And goes, I didn't even know he was sick. Right. So
I didn't know he was
that's
sick.
his joke, right?
That's good.
It's so.
That's pretty good. He's a
And
pretty
so,
bad guy.
Then after he died, all these people was like, Norm Macdonald died. I didn't even know he was sick. And so they played it back to back with him saying that joke about Hitler. And it was just the funniest thing. Like,
it's awesome, dude. It's great. Yeah, he was a well-loved man. He's a well-loved man. Right.
It's weird. He was weird. He's very funny.
I used to see him at the firehouse all the time.
Used to see him at the firehouse all the time.
Yep.
Hang out at the firehouse. Yep.
Those were the days. Boy, oh boy.
Yep. All right.
All right.
Thank you guys. And thank you. Happy Halloween to everyone. More to come. Again, like I said, make sure to follow us on our YouTube and support us on our Patreon. Those are the platforms of choice for the live stuff. So YouTube is youtube.com/@martinigiant, and our Patreon is patreon.com/martinigiant. Thanks, guys. Support it. All right, guys. Ready?
That's it.
All right. Drink.
Talk.
Drink. Thanks, everybody in chat. That was awesome.
Thank you. Bye.